like confirm that we are indeed live.
That's fine. I'm doing the story post right now.
Okay.
I'm messaging sad quotes to my friend via YouTube.
Done redirecting to YouTube. Oh, dope. Oh, I got to turn the sound off because we are indeed live.
Oh, yep.
And the
We're live.
resolution looks like
Oh, meeting is
garbage.
now streaming live on YouTube. Uh-oh.
Oh, there it is. It's
Oh.
cleared up. All right. Well, I'm going to start with the intro. Hey, just like a red, white, blue phoenix rising from the ashes of political bipartisanship, we are back to Salt of the Streets podcast.
This is Saturday, February 13th, 1:19 p.m., episode 102.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Salt of the Streets podcast, your one and only source for social and political commentary on all the weekly news, pop culture, and sports that you can handle. The best part about the whole deal, it's all built from the ground up for people like you and me, the everyday normal person. So come down and join us as we discuss life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and continue our endless endeavor to bridge the gap between people and information. As always, we are your hosts. I am Colin.
I'm Donovan.
And today we have, for the third time in a row, the local, regional, and national celebrity, Larry the Man Dixon.
Wow, national. I
Been working
appreciate
on that all
that.
day.
Yeah. Just keep gassing me out. That's great. I feel great about it now.
Oh, and coming up on this week's show, we have some breaking news, which if you follow us on social media, John would have just shared it with you. It looks like the impeachment is over again. And we once again were acquitted. President Trump was once again acquitted of charges and whatnot. So he's just a regular ass ex-president citizen now.
But it was definitely worth us going through the whole thing because now he can't run for anything else, right? Oh, no, wait, because he was just acquitted. So the fuck.
Super worth it.
Oh,
Yeah,
brutal.
it's not like there was, trillions of dollars to be spent in government cheese. Well, like, come on.
Oh,
No,
dude, how much
we
money did
we
we
got other
waste on
things
this?
to be doing.
Probably tons. Not to
That was
mention
the other
we
thing,
pushed
you know.
off the coronavirus package.
Right, and that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like there's a package worth of trillions of dollars that's sitting there waiting to be signed and spent, or at least discussed. At least mulled over, perhaps in a committee or two, so that it could, be introduced to the floor. But instead, we decided to. I would be very interested to find out how much money was spent on the trial because I actually wrote that down on one of these note cards because I'm the note card host now. And that, like, one of my questions is like, isn't it interesting that the Democrats and the Republicans are continually talking about, this is very urgent. We don't have the time. Like, we need to do this now. But the Democrats have all the time in the world to go ahead and push through this impeachment thing and try and get it done, even though, as we have seen now, it didn't fucking get done, which I'm pretty sure we called a couple of weeks ago when this whole thing started, but I might be wrong.
Yeah.
You might.
It's okay. It's just money, right? Doesn't matter.
Definitely just money. It's not even that
It's
big a
just
deal.
money.
It's just money. I mean, money isn't real anymore, as we all know. Sorry, just I'm going to be slightly occupied here for a second. The chat does not seem to be working, so I'm trying to play around real quick.
No, that's fine. I'll just remind everyone, because I know Larry will appreciate this, that while we were wasting, not us, while Congress was wasting more government money while also not giving you money, none of them were missing a paycheck. They were all still collecting their own paycheck while you sit and wait, possibly without a job, possibly with a job with reduced hours, any number of things. They're still collecting their paycheck as you're waiting to find out whether or not you'll maybe get the $1,400 that was supposed to be $2,000 now.
Well, it's $1,400 plus $600, which is the same thing as telling people you're going to get a $2,000 check.
Yeah,
that's how I expect things. It's just like, hey, you're going to make $50,000, but really just $5,000 extra on pace for your normal wage. So it's good. It's just words. They don't matter. We'll circle back to that, which is my favorite.
We'll circle back. Don't Jen Psaki this thing already, man.
Listen, this is what I'll say though, right? Because like Kayleigh McEnany, like she just came out with fire. She was so rehearsed, right? And so all the White House secretaries are going to do the same thing, right? They're always going to just, do whatever the president says, right? They're always the mouthpiece. They're always propaganda. But I really appreciate it with Kayleigh is that she was just always prepared for any question. And so it's not even that, I don't even know her name. The new press secretary is
Jen Psaki.
It's not even that she's, circling back to anything. It's not that she's avoiding questions. Right. I just don't feel like she's as prepared for the product that I was now used to. And like, that's the real problem. Like, I don't care what she says because
especially because there have been multiple times because I watch them pretty much every day, the press briefings, multiple times where she's looking through the binder and she's like, yeah, and like, I know I have something on this. Like, I don't just give me 1 second. It's like you don't even. Not only do you not have the information, you don't even know where to look to pretend like you have the information in your binder. It's like, I'm just gonna flip through until I find a convenient place.
We'll stop and then we'll come back to it.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's even like I'm trying to find this in a hurry. It's so like slow and methodical as she shifts pages. It's like no.
Like she's running out the clock at the end of the football game. That's all I want. I don't mind.
She's just kneeling.
100%. Just like get us to halftime and we'll be fine. And I'm just like, hey guys, like, listen, like the promises were made, right? And now we're delivering, and that's what I hope so, right? And then like, not to just beat them up. Like, they've done some good things. Apparently now we've hit 300 million threshold that we need to vaccinate everyone in America. We signed those deals with Pfizer and Moderna, so that's awesome. Even though I don't, not to pump anything, but I was in on Ocugen, so like #Ocugen. That's what we needed, but. So Ocugen, that's the one from India, the COVID vaccine from India.
The Ocugen.
Bharati. Yeah, it's Bharati that they merged with they signed a deal with a American company to manufacture it, and that's the one that I was on. So I was riding that hype for a while.
Nice.
Didn't go anywhere super crazy, but it was fun. But yeah, so we have all the vaccines we need now. So we're doing things, right? So they're still moving forward. That's just why you can't overpromise, because now everyone's just like, well, you said you'd do more. So
there was someone I met on the internet during these the riots and all the stuff during the summer, and he invested in Moderna like in the very beginning of the virus, and has made thousands of dollars off of a pretty minimal investment. Like maybe like $2,000 he put in. He's made like 10 grand off just putting in, just letting it sit, But yeah, Moderna has just gone through the fucking roof to the moon.
Or, there it is, to the moon. I was just going to say, or to the moon, which is my new favorite thing. Knowing nothing about stocks.
Oh, that's great. So, I mean, why don't we just start like on this topic, because this has been a bugaboo of mine for a while. I mean, what are we going to hit today, Don? I mean, we're going to hit a bunch of stuff, but.
Yeah. So being Larry here, if this is the first time having Larry here, if this is the first time that you guys have tuned in, or the first time that you've seen Larry is the resident tax man. He's in fact doing my taxes this year. He is the resident tax man. So he is here obviously to talk all things finances, because now he's just the guy we're going to ask about every money question for everything. That's what he gets. Yep. So
he's our econ advisor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's our economic advisor. Exactly. So we're going to talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency today. It's something that I personally have struggled with a lot, trying to figure out, trying to understand. I know it's really big right now, so a lot of people have a lot of questions. Let's talk about crypto. We're going to talk a little bit more about what happened with GameStop last week. A couple weeks ago, and the stonks, as Larry said. We are going to talk about this Time News article that I have here.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I have printed out. I have things highlighted.
How many pages was it printed?
This was,
because it's long.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 10, 14, 11, 12, 13 pages, double-sided.
Woo!
Double-sided?
And this is like the printable copy. It's even like without most of the bullshit. There's minimal pictures in here. Yeah.
There's minimal pictures.
Good.
Yeah, so
get minimal.
Sounds like that kind of book.
Some annotations, some highlights. Legit style.
The title. So Time Magazine article, The Secret History of the Shadow Campaign That Saved the 2020 Election.
Yes.
Which in its title, you already go, pause button, what?
Okay,
what?
Good. Listen.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm never going to dig it. We'll dig it. So I'm excited about that, because I got a lot of stuff to expect.
Yes, and then we are, go ahead, Larry.
No, and then we can touch on the package that isn't out.
Yes.
So we can touch on some updates.
We're going to talk a lot about, because these things aren't going to take us however long we're going to take. So, and as you know, and we have gotten to know each other very well, especially since the first time you've been on. So it's going to be, you know, like having one of our friends and similar. It's going to be a very chill episode. It's
you know the deal.
Yes, as everyone can see, if you came in here from our social medias, you know, but if you don't, we're on Zoom today because we live in Washington State. Larry lives in Oklahoma, but we live in Washington, and we have somewhere between 8 and 10 inches of snow outside. So I wasn't really trying to go to Colin's house, so we're just zooming it up today.
Especially because it's still snowing right now.
It's still actively snowing. It's supposed to stop in a little bit, but then snow more tonight and then the night after that. So
if it makes you guys happier, we are also getting crushed tonight. We are officially getting prepared. They just shut down post for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So we're getting ready as well.
Yeah, so if you want to see some videos of Dax running around in the snow, so we did that earlier, it was fantastic. You can look us up all of our social medias. I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. And Colin is at Big Bird Offie on both those things. Larry is at like Larry the Tax Guy and like
Larry,
a couple of different things.
Yeah, it's all good.
So we'll tag him in these things. You guys can follow him. We'll tag him in socials, obviously. And so you guys see everything there. You can go to our Salt of the Street YouTube, and it's going to be there. Obviously, you're watching it here. You can go to our website, saltofthestreets.com, has all this information through the post all the time for the episode. So all the socials, all the everything, all the information, everything is there. Leave us a rating and a review. It helps people find us. It helps people get to us. Subscribe, like if you're on YouTube. I think that's all the things. I have found it frustrating that all the different platforms have like a different way to let people know that this is what you're doing. You know, like Spotify doesn't even have a rating system. I don't think. I've been using Spotify the last couple of weeks, but there's not even a rating system. So I don't know how you even tell people about that. But that's it. So you're
such a natural at that.
Yeah.
You just slide.
I feel like I'm stumbling through it, so I'm glad that it sounds at least decent. I feel like I'm like, oh, blah, 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 blah. So.
So I just want to start off by one thing, because this is one thing I was going to hit in the pre-show today, but obviously that didn't happen. Yeah, one song only.
Yeah.
Have you guys been following the wrath of the Cuomo, or what's happening to Andrew Cuomo?
Yes.
Because I am so excited.
Yes.
His own. What was it? The deputy.
Yeah, his admin, deputy or executive assistant or whatever that capacity. Yeah.
Threw him under the bus totally by accident, saying like, "Oh, I'm sorry.
So delicious.
We didn't. We had to do something because we were, our policy was to take all these elderly COVID patients that were getting COVID in the hospitals and then send them back to the nursing homes. And then they were just wiping everybody out. So we had to hide the numbers somehow because we were afraid of federal prosecution."
Oh,
yeah.
But now it's okay. It's just okay. Now it's just okay.
Well, and it's kind of funny because it's not, because a lot of people died.
The irony is funny.
The irony is funny. And I was going to, when I first read about it, I was like, oh man, now I can bring up like Biden's deputy health secretary or whatever, or like this woman took her mom out of a nursing home and then like put a bunch of COVID patients back in the nursing homes and was like, oh, this shit isn't safe. It's like, well, then why the fuck did you take your mom out? But you let other people's families stay in there while you did this. And so I was going to compare them, but it's even worse because Cuomo was like, oh no, like just don't tell anyone about it because it's going to look really bad.
Yes,
and we'll probably go to fucking prison. It's crazy.
Listen, the best part about it.
This just came out just in the last couple of days, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe even just yesterday.
Yeah. Like we knew that their numbers were jacked for the last couple of months.
Right.
But now, and I think it was basically since like Thursday night, Friday or something. It must have been Thursday because I think Shapiro was talking about it on Friday.
Yeah.
And it was just like, how do you do that? I mean, how, as somebody working in the government like that, like if you were the assistant secretary of the governor or whatever your title is, how do you not know, like, to not talk about that?
Right.
Like if the idea is for you to avoid prosecution by just like burying everything and not talking about it, what makes you think it's a good idea to talk about it now? Like the media is friendly to you. Obviously, they gave him an Oscar or an Emmy or whatever the hell it was.
Emmy. Yeah.
I mean,
daytime Emmy.
Yeah, but you can't just like cop to a crime like that and expect no one to notice.
Yeah. Yep. No. And I just feel the rule I live by is once you prove to me you're smart, you can't convince me that you're dumb. So her being a very smart woman, I've heard her speak before, at some level, it had to have been planned because again, she literally has she's lived her whole career being buttoned up, not making mistakes, being the go-to girl. So like in my head, I'm just like, what about this moment and this crucial high stakes would this come out? And I feel like at a level, could they just slow rolled it. I think they're just like, hey, like this is going to get out eventually. Because like none of this is even a big deal, except he wrote a book about how great he did. Like he literally wrote a book and said, this is how you deal with chaos. And he said, everybody else is terrible.
Before it was over.
Yeah, 100%. The book is what did it to me. I was just like, you released a book and now you're a liar. Like, do we retract the book? Do we not pretend it happens? And no one asked him that question.
Well, the book in itself was hilarious because like the pandemic is still going on. And it's about how to handle the pandemic. Like you still are like you're gonna have they had a second wave after that. Like it's still actively going on. You still don't have like we were talking about like enough vaccines, like that's still not done. That just the agreement to get enough vaccines just happened. 100%. So it's not like you even have herd immunity going on. Like what the fuck? Yes, but a daytime Emmy because and I don't know if anybody listening that doesn't know about this, and it's Andrew Cuomo that's the governor, right?
Yes, governor of New York State.
So he received daytime Emmys for his press briefings during the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic at the same time that Donald Trump was being taken off of the air on mainstream media because disinformation or some fucking bullshit.
Yeah. We can't allow this disinformation to get spread. Shut him down.
Cuomo is actively hiding information that could potentially land him in prison, and he's receiving daytime Emmys and writing a book that's probably sold millions of copies at this point. And I'm sure it was on the New York Times bestseller for X amount of weeks, if it's not still on there.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So there's just one question we all need to ask ourselves, right?
Yes, sir.
Is when it's time, probably next year, when somebody makes the Netflix miniseries about this, who is going to play Governor Andrew Cuomo?
See, and I don't even think he'll be in it. Honestly, I think it's going to be Brad Pitt. I feel like it's going to be Brad Pitt. They'll put some paint on him, or Robert De Niro. I feel like that's who they would cast it. But I feel like
De Niro is a big fan.
Listen, I think it's going to be like all the because like in the South, like this is where we've lived different lives, right? And this I never thought I would say this, but like we shut down for like March, and then in April we were kind of shut down, and then in May everyone poked their heads up like I think we're good, and we've just been going.
Oh.
We had masks on, but like everyone said, "Oh, I'm gonna eat dinner." And I was like, I just been going out. I won't say constantly because I don't eat out that much, but like I could go out every single day if I wanted to.
Yeah, no, I like we just within the last few days did they open up more districts in Washington because not only do we live in different parts of the country, Larry, it's actually the Hunger Games up here. And that's why we don't have counties anymore. It's all separated into
District
districts.
1.
So yeah, we talked about that last time. It's officially the Hunger Games up here, except people are just going to go hungry because you can't go anywhere. So
God bless you guys. Listen, this is what I'm saying. I love Washington, right? Mainly because it has a 0% state tax rate. But man, I would struggle. Yeah,
right. They're really trying on that capital gains thing. They're really trying. The wealth tax they're talking about, like now they're talking about the wealth tax. Colin, you just posted an article like last week on your Twitter that was, billions or millions of dollars that Jeff Bezos is going to not be able to avoid in taxes because they're just going to fuck it. We'll just put a wealth tax in Washington and go fuck yourself.
Just throw it on there, buddy. Throw it on.
Yes. That's why he's going to Mars. I truly feel like he's just like, it's on the horizon. He first saw it because he sees everything because he's mind Bezos. And he's just like, listen, I think we're ready to jet off to Mars. I think it'll be announced here in the coming months. It's the only.
Well, he said because again, if anybody doesn't know, he said he's going to step down from being the CEO of Amazon. He's going to take a more active role in the Washington Post. So he's leaving Seattle and he's going to go and live in New York. And I'm sure it's because these fucking taxes they're talking about. He's like, all right, peace out. I'm done with this shit. I'm just going to move myself to New York. The business is what it is. We already have X amount of things here. But I'm going to move my shit to the other side of the country because this is fucking ridiculous. And he's probably going to live in some state that's adjacent to New York that has a lower tax rate, but then still work for the Washington Post and just go there every day or fucking fly helicopter. Exactly. Wherever has the lowest tax rate that he can get to within 2 hours on a helicopter, then he'll be good.
I mean, it makes more sense.
It'll be great.
If I was rich, I would do the same thing.
Yep. And his office would be right across the street from Wall Street. So that way he can make sure he can, press the right buttons and shit. And
I don't know how much he's tied into this. So like Jeff Bezos is kind of an enigma, right?
He is, right?
Because like he like for example, right?
A bald enigma.
Right. He's the new
Balma. That doesn't work.
But like he is a tech tyrant, technically, right? But he doesn't act like the other ones.
Yeah.
Like if we just lay it out, besides like him not paying enough in taxes, right? Which unequivocally the second richest after divorce, it's like fifth richest, doesn't matter. But like he doesn't pay enough taxes.
Still up there.
100%. Like listen, if I could give away $1 billion+ and still be considered rich, I'm feeling super good about myself. That being said, he's just never in the news besides taxes. Like I never hear about it. Like, okay, the scandal with the girlfriend, but like besides those two things, divorce, taxes, when do we hear about it? Like
he's smart.
Never goes to Congress. He's never out there. He doesn't have any scandals, never anywhere. He's invested in companies because I'm sure his money's everywhere, but like you just never hear about
Twitter.
Well, and I can think of like one time in the last maybe 3 or 4 years that I've watched tech representatives, tech CEOs go to Congress. One time that he's gone, and that was like within the last year. And I remember what they were talking about. And I think that you're right, Larry, that people forget how much influence he has. And I think people forget about Amazon Web Services. Like people forget of that. So much of their dominance in the tech market comes from how much like cloud services and servers they operate, that they just control the internet, that people don't even think about that, So when they think about Jeff Bezos, they think about Amazon first, and they're like, oh, well, fuck them. They sell books and everything. And the second thing is the Washington Post. And so they don't think about Amazon Web Services, it's almost like a background thing that even watching sports, now they're like, ooh, next gen stats because of fucking Amazon Web Services. And you're like, oh, you don't think about, oh, this is the fucking server hosting company that runs the internet. They kicked Donald Trump and Parler off of the internet because they control so much of it. But where's Jeff Bezos, right? We don't expect him to show up to Congress because no one fucking even thinks about it.
And on top of that, I mean, he, as far as like consumer goods are concerned and getting people consumer goods, completely revolutionized the entire industry. I mean, there is now a fleet of Amazon delivery vehicles across the entire nation getting people what they want for cheap.
Right.
That has never existed before. He has 100%. I mean, he's kicked the shit out of it. UPS, FedEx. I mean, of course, the post office, because everybody kicks the shit out of the fucking post office. Really but you order whatever you want off of Amazon, which has 75% of the goods that you might want on a given day, and it'll show up to you courtesy of their own delivery vehicles with their own, drivers. Everything's contracted. It's all it's 100%. Demolition Man, Josh Hagan, shout out to Josh Hagan. He commented on our last doubleheader talking about movies, and he was talking about Demolition Man. And it got me thinking, in that movie, Demolition Man, have you seen that, Larry?
No, I have not.
Oh, God. 1993, Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock. I mean, Rob Schneider. Fuck, I forgot about that. It's a great film. But in that kind of dystopian future, right, everything is Taco Bell. The greatest restaurant in the world is called Taco Bell. Everything is Taco. It's essentially Taco Bell was the one corporation that blew up and took over everything. Just started eating up other companies, blah, blah, blah. So, it's a nice, fine dining, elegant restaurant, but it's called Taco Bell. It's the same thing with Amazon. Amazon will own everything eventually. It makes me think of that dystopian future where 3 corporations own everything and everything is Amazon.
Right.
And you know what I think is going to be the gateway to that, really? I think, and this is just me kind of hearing, seeing, and really just making a real guess. So I have no verifiable evidence. I think he's going to start buying the empty malls, right? Because what is the thing that we've stopped doing is going to malls, right? I think since 2000. But they're also massive pre-built places.
Brick and mortar. Wow.
Yeah. And then because like 100%, like here, we can return our Kohl's stuff. Wow. We can return our Amazon stuff to Kohl's. So like the only time I go to Kohl's, it's because they're like, oh yeah, we have it here, scan and then take it. And I'm just like, okay, so Amazon, like they don't have to own it. They've done what they needed to do. So now I have a faith to the customer service that Amazon's winning. Because Amazon just said like, we'll eat hundreds of millions of dollars in return fees, all that,
right?
Because they have the nest egg growing.
Well, and they have the stores in Seattle already, right? Where like the grocery stores where you can just go and just scoop shit and it just pays off of your Prime. I wonder if that was like I mean, obviously it was a test run for a larger scheme, but I wonder if it has larger implications, more as what Larry was talking about, instead of just the corner retail, grocery store. That is extremely interesting. And you could literally revitalize an entire market that is going away. Like you could just like, oh, how much is here? 60% of it. I'm just going to take the whole fucking thing and just fill it all. Wow.
Oh yeah. And with
you just blew my mind a little bit.
When all of a sudden minimum wage is $15 an hour and you don't need anybody to work your store except for a couple people to kind of check it out.
Yeah.
He's going to get the real estate dirt cheap because nobody wants it now.
100%.
And he'll just be able to, the infrastructure will essentially be, it'll just be walk in, grab what you want and leave. And they're going to make the money on it.
And again, I think it's going to be, so like there's two things that he's already done. So have you ever been to the Amazon bookstore in Seattle?
No.
So
we live here too, Don. We should be ashamed
That's why
about
we've
this.
never been.
Listen,
fuck it.
I went years ago, right? Because obviously my sister's husband, he went to UW, so we would go there, right? Obviously, and I'm a normal Washingtonian, so I go to Seattle. And so the bookstore is nuts, right? So I went in and bought the bookstore, and there's no price tags on anything. And so you scan it with your Amazon app, and it automatically updates based on what it's worth on Amazon, and that's how much you pay out the door. And so you don't have a shopping cart. So I literally pick up, like, dude, scan it, and then I turn 3 books in, and they scan, like, it's a receipt, and you open it up, and then it scans it, and it's all the prices for Amazon. So like you could literally come in, so they don't have to worry about sticker prices at all, and their inventory system's already pre-built because it's nested in better. Because how many times have you gone to Walmart? I get frustrated. I'm the worst about this, right? My wife hates it because like I'll drive 30 minutes to Walmart or Target because I don't trust the websites anymore. Because I'm like, oh yeah, hey, we have this in inventory.
Oh
yeah, trust it. And so but like theirs is perfectly nested, so you literally see everything.
Yes, that's very true. I can't fucking stand that.
Exactly.
No, that's all that I have to say. I was going to try and come up with some type of. That's it. I can't fucking stand it. I just can't. I
can't stand it.
No, seeing something online and being like, "Word, I'm going to go and pick it up," and then it's not fucking there.
Yeah,
I hate that.
And pretty soon he'll have the drones that'll just swing by your house and drop it off within a few hours. It's fine.
Well, they have already ruined like shipping as it is with Prime, that you just expect things in 2 days. So if something takes a week, which is a pretty like a reasonable amount of time to get something from fucking Florida, you're like, fucking it's Wednesday. Like, why isn't he here? I ordered on Sunday. I ordered on fucking Saturday, which is a weekend and nobody's working. But why isn't it fucking here yet?
Listen, I live literally in a one stoplight town. Like there's literally only one stoplight.
Really?
Only one. It's great. I love small towns. Regardless, Amazon has not failed to get me something in 2 days, except one time during literally the bulk season of Christmas when I messed up and I ordered it on like the 16th, and it took 4 days because they wouldn't deliver on a Sunday. And I was just like, and I was even mad. Like me, I was just like, are you kidding me, Amazon? Like you said today, and it's not here. And I was just like, okay. That's fair. It's their busy season. I'll give them
the last couple of times I've bought ammo from like different sites. It's been delayed. It'll hit like Friday. It's supposed to be there on Friday, and then it hits a delay, and it's gonna show up on Monday. And I'm like, God fucking damn it! I'm just like so pissed that I'm not going to shoot it this weekend. I don't need it. Nothing's gonna happen probably in those 2 days. But I'm like, I'm gonna flip this fucking table because this shit got delayed.
Amazon set that expectation pretty high.
And it's so ingenious. But you carve out more space in the market because like now it's not even like we're upset with them. There's like, well, they're not good as Amazon. And now Amazon is the pillar of performance and the comparison. And so like they poisoned us. It's a poison pill.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with a company like Amazon like that. When their tentacles reach out into all these different, industries. But at the end of the day, like they're making massive innovations that are doing subjective good to society, especially on a global scale. They're incredibly hard to compete with. The consumer just wins in the end, except, unless you fall prey to overconsumption, which we all do anyways.
Yes, 100%.
But all he's doing is feeding us what we want and giving it to us faster than we think we want it. And it's just, that's how Jeff Bezos has become who he is. He's revolutionized how modern day capitalism works and consumerism.
And here's my question, right? And the ultimate question and my favorite question as like an economist. You guys are both capitalists, right? You guys are both fairly libertarian. You guys are definitely capitalists. So at what point is Jeff Bezos too big? Because he's only grown this big by literally giving us exactly what we want and what we didn't know we wanted. So like at what point do we or should we curtail it? Like I've struggled with this. I go back and forth all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a very nuanced question because it seems weird to think about, but it's a very real thing that might happen very soon. I mean, my view on essentially Amazon and Jeff Bezos, right? And that the more or less monopolistic, enterprise that is Amazon. It's kind of a weird thing because, I understand that capitalism always wins, right? And I understand that in some markets, a monopoly is better than competition because you might have one of those, commercial benevolent dictators that is actually doing society a net benefit overall and improving lots of people's lives. But at the same time, there's only one of them. And he can, if he decides to be an evil genius one day, and, especially now that he's in like the Washington Post and stuff like that, I mean, he could go rogue at any time. But at some point, I mean, without a Jeff Bezos being, having the monopoly that he has, we wouldn't have what we have today. I mean, I wouldn't have this camera that I'm using to record this on. I guess I got the computer at Best Buy, but like tons of stuff in the studio here I got on the cheap because I got it from Jeff Bezos's company, Amazon, that I would not have been able to get otherwise. No one else could compete. And that's not necessarily a bad thing unless it changes.
And the retail portion in particular is unique because people partner with Amazon, it's not like they're buying all the different companies of the shit that they're selling. Like those people are selling their items through Amazon and Amazon is just taking a portion of that sale. And so it's almost like certainly if you are going to be talking about it in Congress in some type of like an antitrust brief or meeting, if you're going to be talking about it in some type of meeting like that, then you're going to compare it to a grocery store. Like why is this any different than Safeway? Because Safeway is just hosting all these products. They make very little of the items that are inside of Safeway. Most of the items are made by the people. They're just taking a commission off of the sale for hosting the item in their store. What the fuck did we say when Safeway bought up Albertsons or whatever? Save the company. We don't give a shit. It's not even Colin. You said the Albertsons by you even still says Albertsons on the outside, but on the inside there's a banner that says like "Thanks for shopping at Safeway." Yep. So like they care shopping carts
officially are now Safeway.
Yeah. So they care that much about you knowing that it's Safeway, that it still fucking says Albertsons on the outside. They don't really care. They just want the fucking money, And I feel like at least as long as Jeff Bezos is at the head of Amazon, that's still like what he's looking at is money and not like I want to. At least the way that I see it, that his focus is still money. It's not like I want to dominate the globe with the brand of Amazon, whereas someone maybe like the next generation in Amazon leadership who's just like, I fucking love Jeff Bezos and what he's done. They might just be like, I just want Amazon to own everything,
100%.
So, and
that's
that might
all
be
the
like
restaurants will be Amazon restaurant.
And that might be a kick the can down the road type of thing. Like, fuck it. At least Jeff Bezos just wants money. Like, but I don't know. It's there. My bigger concerns are with, like we're talking about, like the things like Amazon Web Services. That they own so much of that market, so much of the server market, that when somebody like Parler gets kicked off, there isn't even somewhere else big enough that can host Parler. They own too much of the market, and everybody else that owns a decent enough portion is still bought into like the leftist ideology that anybody who isn't sold on the social justice warrior stuff can't even have a large enough stake in the market to host something reasonable size. And that would be something I think would be an easier discussion to be had, where he can't hire 10 lawyers, like I said, who are going to argue that it's just like Safeway. because they're not, that is a domination of the internet market, in which is supposed to be free for people to express themselves and say whatever the fuck they want to do, whatever, and if you're able to restrict who can and can't, you know what I'm saying? So that, I think, will be the first place of discussion, especially if some conversations about like 230 start happening and stuff like that. I think that will be 230. That's what the number is, right? That's
section 230 of
yep.
Information control.
Colin knows what's up.
Yeah. It's the one that lets them be like not be accountable for the
exactly. It's what says that they're not publishing the material, they're just hosting.
Yeah, it's a platform.
Exactly. And so especially if something is shifted on that, where they have to start taking more responsibility for what's going on, I can see the social media platforms. I can see how that could have larger implications to the people who are hosting the social media platforms, in which they need to be, you know what I'm saying? So I would be interested to see where that goes. And with the president being banned from Twitter for life, I think that these conversations
former president.
No, he's still President Trump. We call him President Clinton,
true.
President
everybody
Obama.
calls Once you're a president, you're always president.
President for life. Yeah. Whether people like it or not, fucking President Trump. And I don't even fucking like the guy.
For life.
President Trump. President for fucking life.
Just like President Obama is still President Obama.
Still president for life.
Yeah. There's no official former president anything. Once you are president and you have served your term of office, unless there might be a thing like if you were to get impeached and removed from office, you might lose that. I'm not totally sure, but
it doesn't really matter. That Donald Trump established an office of the former president. I think that I believe that he did that with the same thing that it meant when Joe Biden established the office of the president-elect. It's fucking nothing. It didn't exist until 5 minutes ago, but now it's a thing. So
I think just for legal issues, I think legally, you just can't say the office of the president. I feel like that. I don't know, but I feel like there has to be a thing. But I think it's the same thing. I think. Officially, even in the Army, when people are generals, we'll say Brigadier General retired. But we would use still based if I'm talking to him, I would still call him a general. I would still call him insert rank generally. And then I think in official terms they would say former president. But I don't think it's, at least on the mainstream, to call him President Obama, I don't think that's a form. And I feel like what it's going to come down to is calling him President Trump. Is somebody, you don't think Joe Biden's our president? She said, no, it's just he was our president. He's just so aggressive.
And I think that you're probably right. I think calling him president is more of a personal thing. If you were going to meet him, then you would call him President Trump. You wouldn't call him former President Trump. But if we were talking about him, then we might call him a more formal presentation. It might be to call him former President Trump. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I just pulled up a Hill article from January 25th. Trump established the office of the former president in Florida. Former President Trump on Monday established an official post-presidency office in Palm Beach, County, Florida, setting up a vehicle for future public appearances and statements. So I guess it's just something you can do.
It's just a business. It's probably some kind of a 501, which is just a nonprofit, and it's just going to be a political nonprofit.
We don't make anything here.
Yeah. As long as he's not trying to threaten anyone, I think he's going to be fine. I think what it's going to be is I think he's either going to gear up for 2024, a rerun. We're going to run it back, or or he's going to take all that political capital and throw it behind him, right? And I really think being deleted off of Twitter is probably the best thing for him in that retrospect, because I don't even think about him anymore because he never talks.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so let's just start here, right? Now that this article has
that's been what you call a natural segue, baby.
Now that this article has been put out, I think he could potentially have an easier time trying to run, because the playbook was just fucking published in a Time article on exactly what everyone did behind the scenes to try and defeat President Trump, or to
fortify the election, Donovan, to make sure the right person won.
And so now that all of this is here in public record, how does President Trump not just hire a bunch of people to do the exact fucking opposite of what all these people just did, and just pay them more money? However much money they they have here, he can absolutely raise with all these people that are so rock hard for Trump. They will fucking storm the Capitol building. So, like, they'll willingly give all of their $1,400 to President Trump just so that he has enough money to run in 2024. So I'm very interested to see what happens, especially now that they couldn't borrow from office.
No,
like, what are you gonna do now? You know?
Is it just me, or does the thought of Trump running in 2024 kind of just it kind of really ruins my life thinking about it. I'm like, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to do this whole thing again. I get it. I just don't want to go through that.
Mm-hmm. The last year specifically, even outside of the coronavirus, has been rough. Yeah. And I would not blame President Trump for all of those things, but he had a heavy hand in a lot of the things that happened outside of coronavirus. And I think the last thing that this country could actually genuinely survive would be a successful Donald Trump presidential campaign in 2024. If he fucking won the presidency in 2024, the storming of the Capitol building would look like a fucking joke of what Antifa and all of everybody would do, and everybody that would mobilize to try and fight against Antifa and all the leftist groups. And they talked in this fucking article about, dozens of different leftist groups they had ready to mobilize at any moment, which sounds, like a conspiracy to incite fucking something, if you ask me. But so this article, right? We'll just give a little bit of an introduction.
I was so jazzed.
Yeah, it's called The Secret History of the Shadow Campaign That Saved the 2020 Election.
Saved the 2020 election.
So, like Colin said, it's a little bit sketch. Just
matter of perspective.
From the beginning. I think one of the best breakdowns I saw of it was Tim Pool's. And Tim Pool, I watched like Timcast IRL for a while, and then like just do you watch Tim Pool at all, Larry?
Yeah, no, I'm familiar.
Yeah, so Tim Pool's regular Timcast, where it's like just him in the corner of his screen and he's reading the articles, I think that's by far the best Timcast. And so he did one breaking down this article, and it was very good. Yeah. So not that you obviously shouldn't stay here and listen to us talk about it, but also Timcast.
But also Timcast.
Yeah. So I went through and I highlighted just some things.
Just some things.
Yeah. That I figure, I don't know how you guys took notes or if you took notes or anything on this, but we could read some portions of this that maybe stood out to us the most or disturbed us the most, or however you want to.
I accidentally just deleted it from my.
I
went to go grab the tab and move it over, and it. Oh, hang on, I gotta pull it back up again. This is my Google search. Okay, it's to find
control undo that shit.
Right. To find this article, I always Google Time Mag saved 2020.
You can just do the first one pops up. Control Shift T and it'll open up the browser you closed.
Oh, hot dog. There we go. All right. So I don't know. Maybe just read the beginning of it. Like the first couple paragraphs are pretty good on it.
Yeah, I'll read
the stage.
Exactly. Okay, so.
And Larry, you have not read this article yet, right?
So I'm familiar with the article. I'm very intimately familiar, but I did not read it. But I know.
I see how committed you are, Larry.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
My bad.
No, I'm just kidding.
The narrative alone kind of tells its own story.
Yeah.
When you read it, you go, "Oh, okay, I get it. You guys are really happy about this."
Yeah. No.
Okay. So, and this is a long article we talked about earlier. This, I think, I said was 12, 13 pages, double-sided. So it's a lengthy article. We're not going to read the whole thing because it's so fucking long, but certainly it's worth the read if you're looking for more details about it. So
you might have to do it in chunks because it's hard to handle.
Sorry, it took me like 3 days to read this whole thing. No, you're fine. Okay, a weird thing happened right after the November 3rd election. Nothing. The nation was braced for chaos. And this is one of the things that I highlighted first, because the nation was braced for chaos. So isn't that because for like 6 weeks before the election, the media was just like the mainstream media, all of the channels were just talking about, there's all of these things that are planned for the Capitol. These bombings are planned, and the FBI is looking at serious cases and, potentially all 50 state capitals. And wasn't that happening for like several weeks leading up to the election? So isn't it so fucking weird that people were braced for chaos when that's what was happening, right? Super strange. Liberal groups had vowed to take to the streets, planning hundreds of protests across the country. Right-wing militias were girding for battle. In a poll before Election Day, 75% of Americans voiced concern about violence. Instead, an eerie quiet descended. As President Trump refused to concede, the response was not mass action, but crickets. When media organizations called the race for Joe Biden on November 7th, jubilation broke out instead, as people thronged cities across the U.S. to celebrate the democratic process that resulted in Trump's ouster. This is like a sub-headline: reactions throughout the U.S. after Biden wins presidential race in unprecedented election. A second,
so they actually have these little videos cut in between every few articles to kind of give context to the last couple things that they said.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
A second odd thing happened amid Trump's attempt to reverse the result. Corporate America turned on him. Hundreds of major business leaders, many of whom had backed Trump's candidacy and supported his policies, called on him to concede. To the president, something felt amiss. This is a quote. "It was all very, very strange," Trump said on December 2nd. "Within days after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint the winner, even while many key states were still being counted."
And in a way, Trump was right.
In a way, Trump was right. There was a conspiracy unfolding. Yes. And I wrote something down here. So it was all very, very strange. Within days after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint the winner, even while many key states were still being counted.
You got annotations.
Yeah. Oh, this is how this is supposed to go. Why do the CEOs need to be pressured? Oh, and this is because the hundreds of major business leaders, many of whom back President Trump, support his policies, called him to concede. I don't know. Who fucking knows why I wrote that? Obviously, I thought there was something else there. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes, one that both curtailed the protest and coordinated the resistance from CEOs. Both surprises were the result of an informal alliance between the left-wing activists and business titans, even though, again, for weeks leading up to, for the last several years, there's no coordination between the left. And, they're not doing anything because they're pressured to do anything. And, we're doing this because, we're firing people and we're changing things in posters and we're doing all this shit because we think that it's the right thing to do. Not because we're receiving any pressure from anybody. It's because we think it's the right thing to do. Didn't this just say the exact opposite of that? That there's 100%. Some type of informal alliance between left-wing activists and business titans?
Mm-hmm. It's called raising the curtain.
Right. The pact was formalized in a terse, little-noticed joint statement of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and an AFL-CIO published on Election Day. Both sides would come to see it as a sort of implicit bargain inspired by the summer's massive, sometimes destructive, racial justice protests, in which the forces of labor came together with the forces of capital to keep the peace and oppose Trump's assault on democracy. Which is funny because Antifa literally attacked Portland for over 100 days. And the Chaz was established. And then when Donald Trump called in the feds to, scoop people up and arrest them and try and install some. And we talked about this, so I'm not going to take heat on YouTube of so now you're fucking in favor of this. No, we disagreed with it at the time. But if our question in our allegation is that Donald Trump is assaulting democracy, while Antifa and leftist activists are actively outside of federal court buildings in Portland, literally trying to destroy them. There are autonomous zones being established in cities around the country. And when Donald Trump tries to step in to curtail this, they're called the Gestapo.
He's a fascist.
He's called the dictator, right? He's a fascist dictator who is now putting out his secret police to try and arrest people who are, not assaulting democracy? What the fuck are they doing? Because it's a courthouse that they're trying to destroy. It's literally a courthouse that they're trying to destroy in Portland for over 100 days.
That's one of the branches of democracy, is it not?
Yes.
That is about a textbook attack on democracy that I've ever heard.
Oh my God. And that was the disturbing part. It wasn't even that any of these things happened in isolation, but it's that explicitly stated that everything was correlated and everybody was working together. And so then the question comes who's overseeing this? Who's funding this, right? Because to have this coordination on such a wide scale, there needs to be an official structure or there needs to be money to get people to respond to the way you want them to. And so that's the big question for me.
Let me tell you, Larry, there's both.
Yeah, it's both.
Yes.
And that's, I think, where that general narrative on like the right came from, of George Soros funded this, because it obviously was a concerted effort that was thought about, and there were handshake deals and there was meetings. I mean, this thing goes on and on about like weekly meetings with this guy that ran this whole cabal and all this shit. It wasn't just George Soros, but that's where that came from, because that little itch in the back of their head that was like, this has to be organized. It was fucking organized.
I would say, and we'll talk about this later as it goes on, but I would say that the idea of George Soros and like that name is going to start to be replaced with some more of these newer tech people. And because it says in here, the Chan Zuckerberg initiative chipped in $300 million to this cause. So one of the major funders was fucking Mark Zuckerberg, and it's the Chan Zuckerberg Foundation, I believe, the Chan Zuckerberg initiative. So that would, I have not done, this is an assumption, right? But that would imply to me that they have some type of tax status that probably favors them a little bit in the way of how this money goes, and now this money is being funneled into some type of fucking I don't know, shadow campaign to fucking adjust democracy to fortify the election. Like, what the fuck?
And it's not like this is some right-wing outlet, like
fucking Time Magazine.
It's Time Magazine, man. These are your people. They are raising the curtain.
Continuing, the handshake between businesses and labor was just one component of a vast cross-partisan campaign to protect the election, an extraordinary shadow effort dedicated not to winning the vote, but ensuring it would be free and fair, credible, and uncorrupted.
In your point of view.
We have a concerted effort. We're banding together. We're mobilizing people from all quarters to make sure there's no corruption.
To make sure we get Orange Man Bad out of office.
For more than a year, a loosely organized coalition of operatives scrambled to shore up America's institutions as they came under simultaneous attack from a remorseless pandemic and an autocratically inclined president. Though much of this activity took place on left, it was separate from the Biden campaign and crossed ideological lines, with crucial contributions by nonpartisan and conservative actors. The scenario the shadow campaigners were desperate to stop was not a Trump victory. It was an election so calamitous that no result could be discerned at all. The failure of the central act of democratic self-governance that has been a hallmark of America since its founding. They're working hard to really make you feel like this was like a patriotic effort because we love America. And that's why we worked really hard to pass all these laws before anybody could do anything about it. And when it was too close for us to try and adjust anything, and in many cases, whether they were Republicans or not, unconstitutional laws, like in the case of Pennsylvania, and stuff like Colin has said, he's like, I don't feel bad for them because they did this to themselves. Like they tried to rush this through to benefit themselves and end up fucking them in the end, which is fine. But as this is talking about here, it doesn't matter which ideological lines they sit on. You're sitting here admitting that you actively worked against laws that are sitting and constitutional lines that have been laid out because it's going to work in your favor in this coming election, which is fucking dark. And if that's the case, you certainly can't argue that you did it because of America. Like that, you can't use patriotism as a justification if you're doing something that's unconstitutional at its base.
Yeah. But what if the Constitution is bad, Donovan?
Right.
That's the whole point. This is my favorite. This next little like half a paragraph is my favorite, right? Their work touched every aspect of the election. They got states to change voting systems and laws and help secure hundreds of millions in public and private funding. They fended off voter suppression lawsuits, recruited armies of poll workers, and got millions of people to vote by mail for the first time.
Jesus.
Period. Full stop.
You have to include the next part. They successfully pressured social media companies to take a harder line against disinformation and use data-driven strategies to fight viral smears, like the Hunter Biden story, like the Project Veritas stories. And the thing that I think is the Project Veritas story we have to talk about, because we talked about them in like before the election. There was the one big one with the woman in Texas, right? And everyone's like, oh, that's bullshit. She was ballot harvesting. She's talking about like, X amount of dollars per ballot, like all this shit. She's fucking hemmed up now. She's in jail Like, she's in jail for interfering with the fucking election. And then there was the other dude in Minneapolis that was rolling around with handfuls of ballots. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm just scooping all these up. I'm turning them in, all this shit. Like, all of these things happened, and they were called disinformation. The Hunter Biden story that as of like 2-3 weeks ago is now we can talk about it. Now it's being covered with ferocity that we're like, oh, my God, we thought before that it was Russian disinformation. And now that Biden's in office, we know that it was real, and maybe we should be looking into this. And he apologized, but he's writing a book, so make sure you go and you check out the book so that we can know exactly what happened in this whole Hunter Biden story, because we couldn't talk about it before. But go buy the book.
Yeah, Hunter Biden's coke-fueled writings. I cannot wait to get into those.
You don't want to read it, but I'd love it. You have to. You just got to know.
And I
got to grab this book. Hang on, I got to show you this one. This is a good one.
I'm ready.
God. I continue to use the word shocking, and I hate it because it's not shocking like this, but it's like, I don't know. I'm going to make it my life's mission to think of the correct word that I feel when I watch a politician do something that disgusts me, but also doesn't surprise me. There's got to be.
It's a form of gaslighting, because you're being told you're crazy when you're seeing what's going on, and then you ask a reasonable question. Again, and this was the crazy thing, right? It was just you would ask a question hey, isn't this the way we've never done it before? And they're like, oh, you think the election was stolen? And you're like, oh, okay, we completely jumped, and you're just getting told you're crazy or conspiracy theorists for thinking that.
I hear a dog with a squeaky toy.
Yeah, I
Somebody's
know.
having a great time.
It's my dog. Hold on.
Larry, you got to make sure to bring it back now that we're actually recording. Because Dawn, did you see Larry's adorable dog?
Oh my God! Yes.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna break the internet if we show them.
Yeah.
What is your dog's name, Larry?
Atlas. It's
Atlas.
Named after my company.
Look at that. Or is your company named after your dog that you love so much?
Listen, my favorite book of all time is Atlas Shrugged. And so,
okay.
And it's all named after. That was my great awakening in college. I read that book. My teacher mentioned it in passing, and I was like, yeah, I'll read this book. And so I read it in it's 1,000 pages. I read it in 5-6 days. So
that's your favorite book of all time?
Yeah, I read it probably once a year. Now I don't, I'm not gonna sit down and polish off 1,000 pages in that kind of time. But in college, off season, and when you're stuck in prison, you don't have a lot of time to go play. So you read.
Have you seen the I guess it's like a series that they made. I think I can't remember if I've seen it on Amazon or anything. Is it any good? Have you seen
it? It's on Amazon. It's literally insane because the first one is iffy, right? So you'd be like, okay, this is 6 or 7. I'm not mad I watched it. I get it. And the second and third one, I don't know what they did. So none of the movies have any of the same characters. So it's awkward continuity. Each one is directed by somebody different, or a different producer or something, or written by somebody different. So it's the different themes going on are completely different. And they're done so far apart that the period is disconjointed, right? You're are you in the modern times or are you in the new times? And so it's actually super, super poorly done, and I hate it. But the first one's worth it.
That's unfortunate.
100%, right? It's the saddest thing. I own all 3, obviously. And so I watched them because I like the movie, and so I like having it interjected. But if anybody ever hears this and you want to watch it, it's gonna be terrible. Read the book.
Yeah. Stick to the audiobook. The audiobook's good.
I
say that.
It's also 64 hours.
1,000 pages. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a long audiobook.
It's an undertaking.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's a road trip across the country twice.
Twice. Yeah, twice. Each side. I've done that. Anyway, sorry. Back to this Time article where they break down how they rigged the political environment, thus so that Biden could not lose. Because remember, Joe Biden did not run a campaign. There was no campaigning out there. This was the campaign. This was the secret shadow campaign.
Are you telling me just sitting down, taking 28 minutes worth of content a day isn't running a campaign from your basement? Are you kidding me? Listen, all right? Those 28 minutes is where I lived. I subsisted on that for months at a time. That's all I need.
If I could become president for 28 minutes a day, I would definitely do it.
For God's sakes, we put out more content than his campaign did.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
All I'm saying.
You count up all the hours that we did.
Thank God for the shadowy cabal.
Yeah.
Thank God for the cabal.
And it was crazy because like people would say it, right? And again, I didn't know, right? And pretty much how I was knowledge, except even cryptocurrency. I'm like super loud on it now, and like the things I'm loud on, I'm never first, right? Like when I was day trading, my whole investment strategy was never be the last one in the room and never be the first, never be the first one in the room, the stock, and never be the last one out of the stock. That's literally my entire strategy.
That's how it works, man.
And so I was never so loud on it, but like I would just, you'd ask questions, but I don't like the way this feels. Like I don't know what this is. And then you'd be like, oh, this is conspiracy theory. And then like if you don't dig in, you literally like people don't dig in and they're literally fine just because QAnon was so aggressively over the top, right? And so like every time you would say something like, yeah, exactly, 100%, right? So I just it's such an aggressive community. And just so aggressive. I don't know how any
That's
other
a good way to put it, though. I think QAnon is an aggressive community.
No, 100%, right? And then if you say anything that debunks anything they're thinking, that they just start crushing you. You're just like, okay, well, that's cool. But anyways, if you say anything that like they have strands of truth in there, and then you're like, well, this thing they're saying is right. Like, oh, so you're just a massive QAnon conspiracy theorist, and you're just like, okay, now you're trying to trigger me. So I left the whole thing, and now they're writing this article. I'm just like, and then it's written and we glossed over it. Like this wasn't frontline news. Like no one stopped. Like it was just like the 7 small people that you listen to.
Yeah. This article was not reported about at all in any mainstream media that I have seen. Even in like new media or alt media, whatever the hell you want to call it. I mean, Crowder, Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro. I mean,
They did an episode on it.
Yeah, and that was it.
Yeah.
Because they moved on with the day. And it's insane to think about because like we did 17 days on Donald Trump's taxes, which as a tax person, let me tell you that I understand you're frustrated and I understand everyone's upset that he doesn't pay enough in taxes. One, you can't say it's illegal because it's in the tax code. Two, it was already up for dispute. The thing we're arguing about, he should be taken care of. He's literally under audit, which means that they're literally trying to figure out if they're going to take money away from him. So I was just like, what is the news article here? He's like, oh, Donald Trump needs to be audited. Like, all right. Like, could you imagine coming into work today and you're working at your table? Like, you need to be working at your table, and you're just like, all right. Like, what do you? There is no response.
Okay.
Now imagine doing that for 17 days. Every day you're just at your table, just like, all right. So
17 days. That blew my mind. I didn't even. Wow.
I have to touch on the QAnon thing real quick because it made me think. Like 30 weeks ago, I was in my truck and I was going to the store, and it was right after Donald Trump lost the election. It was right after January 6th. So, because they were still talking, I was listening to NPR and they were still talking about like everything that happened at the Capitol, and I mean, which they still are. So I guess they could have been yesterday, but they were talking about how people could get into QAnon and like all these parents, and they were like, so it's not surprising, that some people and how Facebook groups are set up that you can like one thing and then you start getting all these recommendations for all this random stuff, and you get into I almost said a monkey hole, but it's a rabbit hole. But like I don't know. I don't know.
I'm calling it monkey hole from now on. Don't want to get that.
Sounds like a new position that I want to try out.
But and so the guy was saying, he's like, I can, it's like, so it's not hard to see how you could get into a group because you think it's about parenting tips, and then you start thinking that like politicians are eating babies or something. And I was like, hold on, it's like there is a lot of stuff in between. It's like, not to give credence to QAnon, but there's a lot of stuff in between parenting tips and politicians are eating babies. Like, we spent a whole episode talking about potentially verifiable information of like pedophilia rings, like all this shit. I'm like, these are things that deserve to be questioned. Like, I don't think we need to be asking, are all of our politicians consuming children? Probably not. I don't think that's a question that we need to discuss. But is there like, you know what I'm saying? We did an entire episode on like potentially verifiable evidence. Like this is not something that should be brushed over. Like it's fucking ridiculous. And those are the people that are invading the Capitol. Like I thought that was pretty funny.
That's what I said. Like, and the best way I can sum it up is this. So it's just like, hey, should I do 1,000 arm curls a day? And you're just like, no, that sounds crazy. But then it's like saying, well, you shouldn't do 1,000 arm curls a day, so you just shouldn't work out. I was like, whoa, there's a medium in there.
Don't break my fucking reality, Larry, okay? Just because I don't want to do 1,000 arm curls a day, I'm using that as justification not to work out, for God's sakes.
How dare you?
How dare you? Yeah. Oh my God. quick aside. Babylon Bee. Do you guys follow the Babylon Bee?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Have you seen the video, the masterclass with Greta Thunberg?
No.
Teaches everything.
Oh,
No.
Do yourself a favor and watch that video.
All right.
It's
funny.
pretty amazing. She's 18 now, so you know,
Oh my
shots
God,
can
no.
be fired.
Crowder had a whole there was a theme of one of their shows of Greta Thunberg is 18 now, so we can even talk about her
I
and
know.
not get pulled up to YouTube. And
I
it
almost
was a
joined
big
the Mug
deal.
Club that day just so that I could watch that content, but I
Just
didn't.
to see whatever they were gonna make.
Oh my gosh.
I know, isn't that terrible? I feel terrible. I feel like by doing that I'm going to hell, but
Every time. Go ahead, Larry.
I would feel bad. This is my take on influencers and famous people. I feel bad for how they're treated unless they thrust themselves into the situation.
like sail halfway across the globe.
Yes,
Yes.
Thank you. Like, listen, I'm boycotting school on my private yacht. And I was just like,
What?
okay.
Well,
yeah.
in her defense, she basically just hitched the ride.
Listen.
And I will say this, the Swedish people, because I have some pretty severe connections with Sweden and the Swedish people.
Yeah.
I've actually been there myself, and I know a lot of these people.
Severe.
I have a lot of people in my family who are Swedish. Like the Swedish educational system would do that for you. If you wanted to be like, hey, I'm going to take a year off and go protest in America about how terrible they are, they'd be like, okay, word, we'll see you when you get back.
Sounds good.
And
We'll just press the pause button on your education. Don't worry.
and it's not like a big deal because she will go back and she will keep getting school and all that good stuff. I mean, they're a legitimately homogeneously, educated society over there. They're very, very, it's very, very acceptable.
That's
So
insane
we
to think
might get offended by her like ditching school for a year.
How dare
But
you?
over in Sweden, that's not like really a thing. Like you could kind
Yeah.
of just do that if you wanted to. So just worldly context.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm a fan of that. Listen.
Their education system, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous of it.
It's clean. I don't love college being paid for, but like everybody beats me up over this. It's like a side note. We have the most inflation costs in our college. Like if you look at the tuition, like you're just like, whoa, I'm spending $50,000 to learn about this. Like if college didn't cost so much, we could talk about paying for it.
The only reason college costs so much, just we can hit this and we can get back to it. Sorry, I don't want to go off a whole aside. I'm very passionate about education and how much it fucking costs.
The two of you both are.
Oh, bro, Larry, we're gonna have to do a separate episode just me and you talking about education.
I'm gonna jump on your guys' fireside chats. I'm telling you, I'm ready.
Yeah,
triple
header,
header.
baby. Can we add one more to that? I don't know how that works.
We could try. I don't know.
Don's a social guy. Yeah, Don's a social guy.
Which is so funny because I'm terrible at it.
That's what everybody who's good at things say. Like,
I did two personal stories today on Instagram, and that's the first time I've done it, and I was so fucking happy about it.
Yeah.
I was so pleased.
Listen,
I
don't know who sounds older.
We'll have to talk
I don't know
about
who
food
sounds
after this.
older. Colin talking about social media, or Don trying to get his audio to work. Listen, you guys have just had a lot of boomerisms come out today. Don's squinting like, oh, my audio's not on there. It's just,
I know.
Yeah, maybe
I have 20/20 vision. Like I have perfect vision, so there's like no need for me to be fucking squinting.
Oh my god!
It's just that's the technique.
Yeah.
Like maybe this next time.
Yeah, why is it that everybody that needs to like read something like I gotta really concentrate, I gotta focus versus like the more light you let in, you might be able to see more, right? That's physics.
As a guy who has bad vision and generally wears glasses, I feel like I'm squeezing my eyeball muscles to really get there, like to make them work better. Like you squeeze your biceps.
I totally get that.
I think that's what I do. I look terrible. I look old. My family makes fun of me about it. I think this crease in my head now, and they're like, "Why are you always squinting at everything?" I'm just like, "I'm not squinting at all," and so it's pretty bad. So as a squinter, I'm squeezing my eye muscles.
Jordan and I were watching MasterChef yesterday, and there was a guy on there. I don't remember what his name is. He was 26, so he's the same age as I was, but he has a beard. He's like a Mexican dude. And they pulled up his name, and he's talking about he does like cameo, and he's talking about something. He's like 26, like I get the same age as me. It's like he looks way older than me. And then I looked at Jordan, and I was like, "Oh wait, maybe he doesn't." And she was like, No, he doesn't. Oh, that fucking sucks. It's the kind of, I was like, I guess I'm just really at the age where like I still think, and I was like, I don't look old. And I was like, but I still think like, oh, that person looks way older than me. Like, but they definitely don't, because like I don't look that young anymore.
It happens slowly. Trust me, I'm there. I'm an old. I have gray hair now. My wife will randomly be like, "Hey, you have this massive gray hair." I'm just like, "Oh, hurt me more, I guess. Stab me in my chest."
Jordan pointed out to me, because I pointed out that the dog was getting more gray hairs, and she said, "I think that we all have gotten more gray hairs since the baby came around." And it's definitely the side of my head. There's way more like just scattered gray hairs, and my eyebrows have way more grays in them now. I have some in my.
But you see, Dawn, it makes sense because you guys have a kid. You know, Larry, you don't have a kid, right?
No, listen. This is what I'll tell you, though. All right.
Don't try and compare your dog to a kid, Larry. We're gonna have a problem.
I'm not. Nobody.
No, but you got all them soldiers to take care of, bro. I know how that is.
That's true.
And I'm just like, you like, this is the scariest thing, and it's not being a parent, right? Because you care on a deep emotional level that I could never compare to. I acknowledge that. But when you have someone look you in the eye, like, hey, everything these soldiers do are your fault, and then you walk up to a 4-day weekend and you tell the guys, like, hey, be safe this weekend, and you hear them turn around and they're walking away, and all you hear is, we're gonna get so hammered this weekend. Like, literally. Like, I can't breathe. I'm just like, all right, okay. Like, and you're just waiting with bated breath on weekends. Like, okay, I'm ready to activate. So, and
this, Larry, this is why I decided to fall on that sword when I was younger, and decided, like, okay, guys, well, if you're gonna get, if you're gonna go out and get partied, come over to my house. My entire garage, my last duty station, I had built into a bar and hangout area.
Oh, God.
And so all the sailors would come over to my house and we'd all party, and then everybody would crash. So I had all their keys like in the little jar, nobody could leave. It's the only way I was able to maintain my sanity, because I just had everybody over where I could watch over my flock to make sure the little kids didn't get out of hand.
Yeah, listen, you're better than me. I did not.
Sacrifice.
Just open a bar in your basement, Larry. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, just super irrational. But when I was in the military, me and my other best friend there, we put a gym in our garage. So so that's what we did. And my older roommate, Momo Kine, he would get drunk and lift.
Shout out
Momo Kine.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. So, but
when we were lifting in the murder garage, we were taking dabs and lifting all the time. That's like,
you guys were on it.
It's 100% the way to go. Listen,
it opens the capillaries in your lungs, and I swear to God, that's science and shit. Take a dab, cough your balls off, and then you can take a real deep breath, fucking squat your balls off. After you put it back on from the coughing.
I'm gonna put that on for science. Honestly, I follow science on Twitter, so I'm gonna send that one in so they can verify that.
Follow science on Twitter. That's awesome.
Yeah,
we should introduce it to Dr. Fauci. Sorry. Sorry. Go ahead. Sacrilege. I know. My bad.
Jesus Christ. Listen, he's doing the best he can, all right? He's doing the best he can.
He's also paid more than any public employee ever in the existence of time, but that's whatever.
Listen, he's the best epidemiologist I've ever seen.
Saying he doesn't deserve it? Are you trying to sell me that he doesn't deserve it?
He gets paid more than Obama did.
Larry's like, oh my God, is he serious? Like,
listen, he's doing the best he can. I listen, I don't know. I've been doing my best. But I've been doing my best, and I will say the South is different, right? Like, again, we don't even wear masks. Like, this is gonna sound terrible. If anyone ever sees this, I'm gonna get a lot of pushback. But like
it's live. People are seeing it live, bro.
Yeah. We don't wear masks all the time, but like, and so I
only when it makes sense, right?
100%, right? That's it's really what we do, right? So like,
I'm not wearing it right now in my house because it doesn't fucking make sense.
When I heard we had to wear double and triple masks. And this is what I'm going to say. And like, I don't even think that this is not an egregious question, right? But this is where my mind went in my first question. So I text my friends. I literally see it on Instagram or Twitter. They're like, yeah, you should wear double, triple masks. And I was just like, in high school, when we talked about condoms, they said, if you put 2 condoms on, it's worse. So how is 2 masks going to be better than that? And listen, and I'm not even trying to make light of a situation. I understand it's a pandemic. But when I heard that, no one answers that question. And I don't get it anymore. I don't understand. I stopped coughing directly into people's mouths, and that's my contribution to America. You stopped doing that. 100%. I stopped. I was like, you know what?
Terrible habit.
This is a bad idea. I got to stop doing it.
100%. And I was like, you know what? I'm no longer coughing in your mouth, in your mouth, in your mouth. All right, we're taking this seriously.
For America.
For America.
And I thrived really. Bro. I thrived when we quarantined for like 3 weeks or a month, and I thrived. Like people were like, "Oh, I need to get out." I don't need to get out. I don't need any more sunlight.
You were like, "That's cool, but don't come here."
No, 100%. Like, I was just like, no, we're fine. Just like leave. I played so much video games. It was actually probably logged anywhere from 12 to 17 hours a day.
Okay. Pause button. What were you playing?
League of Legends.
Oh,
really?
Yeah,
that hurts my soul.
Are you guys not
computer guy?
Listen,
bro, I tried for a long time to get into League of Legends and Dota and that whole. There's one thing I realized about video games one day. Where I just all of a sudden realized that everyone was playing these like ultra competitive games.
Yeah.
Where like you're measuring your success in like how many clicks you can get per second on your mouse, and I'm like I can't do that, man. That's when I graduated to like grand strategy shit where I just play by myself in my own little sandbox because I'm a loner and I can't play with the cool kids anymore.
I physically need to aggress people online. I need to aggress people online. And I don't know if this again, right? So
he's in the army, so it does make sense.
I'm an imperfect man. I cannot say it enough. But there's no worse side of me than me playing video games of any sorts, of any kind of competition. And it's been like this since high school. And I'm the worst. It's
also
terrible.
The key to your success, actually.
Yeah,
I would probably argue.
Hyper competitive. I just don't ever shut it off. Like I'll play video games and my roommates make fun of me all the time, right? Because like literally, like I'm a pretty even kill guy. Like I'm usually super relaxed, super like it's one of the things. Like I don't really get upset. That's one people like the even killness. And playing video games, like you'll just hear like the clicking in the background, which is me playing the games, and I know where you'll be like, "That's right, fuck you, and you're just like, "What the hell's happening?" And I get so like I'm
that
deep
was
in
you.
on
God, you were such an asshole.
I'm like when America opens up, I'm going to Worlds for League of Legends, and like I'm going there for the whole month, and I'm gonna watch 18 hours a day of League, and I'm gonna be my best. I'm deep, like
be my best person.
No, 100%. Like the Super Bowl was on, and I literally had it on the TV, and I had League of Legends on my laptop, on my computer, because I couldn't miss the game. And I wasn't talking about the Super Bowl, literally League of Legends.
Well, I mean, what kind of Super Bowl was this? I had Don give me play-by-play, and that was how I watched it.
Oh God, why weren't you watching the Super Bowl?
Because it's the GOAT. We all know who's gonna win.
Yeah,
I fucking hate him. But he's still the best. I don't want to watch him win after he moves to Florida. First of all, Florida could sink into the ocean for all I care, and especially now that Tom Brady lives there.
Listen, Florida. Listen. I know Florida's catching a lot of heat this year, right? Ron DeSantis isn't helping it. But
I know. I want to root for Ron though, because like, is there any? Okay, so this is something I cannot verify, but this is like a newsy type current events thing.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out if it was true or not last night before I went to bed. Ron DeSantis had a phone call with Joe Biden recently, right?
Okay.
And because there's been some talk from Biden about like trying to quote unquote trying to clamp down on Florida, which he would never do and he can't do because states' rights and all that shit. Yep. But like there was, and I can't confirm it because the only place I can get the quotes is from some severe websites that say I've never heard of them before, but there's a buttload of them, and they're all talking about how Ron DeSantis basically said Biden can go fuck himself if he thinks he's going to clamp down on Florida. Like quotes in the article about the conversation he had with Biden,
supposedly on the phone. Yeah.
And it would not surprise me. I mean, even if we're not, if he didn't actually tell him to go F himself, actually, but just did it, colloquially, I would believe that 100%.
I don't know if he would say, because he seems super respectful the times I've heard him. Honestly, I don't know. But like, if he were to say that, like, because like, again, right, we agree, like, people don't like Florida, and that's fine, right? Like, Florida is, again, so the Florida, okay, we can think about that. But this is what I'll say. He like Florida has dunked, like 2020 was a rough year for America. Florida dunked on people. You can say whatever you want.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
But all verifiable statistics and measures, they'd gone up, right? They were the most open, or on the spectrum of the most open. They were not on the most deaths. If you look at their tax revenue, it's skyrocketing because people was up. And you'd be like, oh, that doesn't matter. Oh, ask California how tax revenue has really been affecting them, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, and the schools were open. The teachers union wasn't combating people. And all my friends that, like, after the Super Bowl, there were parties. Like, people were in bars having a great time. And again,
and then all the news articles came out about, oh my God, the Floridians are partying, blah, blah, blah. There's a pandemic on. Did we all forget when Kobe and the Lakers won and California was out in the streets destroying property and shit during the...
It's the same thing. And listen, I'm happy. Again, be safe, protect your grandmas, don't cough in people's mouths, right? That's my contribution to America. But like at a certain point, like
hashtag Larry Dixon.
The data says go have a good time. I'm just saying, right? Like college football finished, they didn't have any kids. And like, again, in the NFL, the SEC specifically in college football, they really showed us that sports aren't the contributing factors to this. Like, and so like, I'm a fan.
Okay. So there's a little bit of reality as far as Florida goes. Like it's all fun and games because we like to dunk on Florida because Florida is Florida. It's one step removed away from Connecticut, which isn't even a state. We all understand that. But Florida, like we call it, jokingly, we call it God's waiting room because it's like 25% of people are above the age of 65 or something like that, right? Why is it? I think Larry died. Why isn't it that Florida, like why is Florida not the number one state with the most COVID deaths per million? Because they have the most retired people there. They have the most elderly people there. They're the quote unquote oldest state in America.
Yeah.
But it's, COVID ain't killing all the old people there because otherwise there'd just be no old people.
I think again, this is why I like Ron DeSantis, right? I think there's always, like, to say someone's courageous, they have to do something hard, right? And I think the easiest thing to do was California did these things. Like, hey, let's just lock down, clamp down for 7-9 months. And Ron DeSantis took a very hard line and said, hey, we have to open up and we have to protect our old people. So like his vaccine distribution plan, I thought was very smart, where he said, hey, we're just going to get all these old people, right? And then his plan for students, he said, hey, the science, the CDC, everybody, Europe, like Sweden and Norway didn't close their schools. Like we should have closed our schools, right? And then he said, you can have your places in here. And he had the most rational approach with, I thought, opening up the stance. He said, okay, let's start at 5% capacity and we'll just increase. And if there's a problem, we'll slow it down. And I just felt like at every step of the way, and
just blowing my nose, don't worry.
In every way, like I felt like he got away from the bipartisanship. Like obviously he's a Republican, but I have Democrat friends down there. I have Republican friends down there, and no one's treated any other kind of way. And they've all enjoyed like just their year, which again, a lot of people just can't say. So like
because surprise, COVID is non-fucking partisan.
Yes.
It's just a matter of how you handle it, the decisions you make, and the policies that you put forward.
100%.
Unfortunately, Cuomo fucked it up. Newsom fucked it up.
Yeah.
Like
how's Inslee doing up there?
We have.
There's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head, just because I wasn't particularly prepared for this, but I know in regards to the vaccine, just in the last few weeks, they're like, I don't know, should we open it up to like anybody who's over the age of 65? And so it wasn't from the beginning, if you were over 65, you could get it. There was like it was very specific who could and could not get it. And it was, frontline workers that they prioritized, obviously. And then like people who were actively working. It was only until a few weeks in that they decided, well, maybe everyone over 65 should get it. And then he also put it off and tried to blame the feds for like not providing enough vaccine. And it's like, well,
he's kind of one of those guys, I feel, that like walks the partisan line at first and then realize, oh shit, I'm going to get recalled if I continue this. I'm just going to like fix this real quick. And, we'll get people vaccines. When I talked to my doctor about it.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, when I talked to my doctor about it, she was very concerned with our state's ability to, increase the amount of vaccination sites, their ability to be able to be like, okay, you're a doctor, you're a doctor's office, you can give the vaccine away.
Yeah.
But like there's a very rigorous apparently list of credentials and stuff that you have to be able to meet before you can qualify as a distribution center. But that's just that's a problem in every bureaucracy, man. Like we like to give a lot of shit to our governor because we disagree with a lot of things that he does.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, as far as like COVID and COVID response is concerned, he's kind of like mediocre, middle of the pack. Okay. He says a lot of partisan shit, but then eventually just kind of goes with whatever kind of has the least resistance, which is nice.
And I think that's why I loved Washington just in general. But I think that's what I'm really seeing elicited, just because obviously I have a good amount of friends there all over the place. It's not like, so like you have Arizona and kind of Texas that are kind of purple, right? Like it's a good mesh. I really think Washington has a massive libertarian strand there, where like a lot of my friends, like they don't like Republicans and they don't like Republicans. They don't love Democrats, and they're really like, honestly, like, let's take care of people, but mostly leave me alone, right? Which is kind of just like, if I were to sum up libertarians, like leave me alone. And I think that's been the most interesting thing with Inslee's run, or just his governorship over there. It's just because like he's not fighting any vote. He's literally just encroaching on people who are just like, do whatever you want, but like leave me alone, like at the end of the day. And that's insane.
And I think that there's something about, now I'm going to think about this more that you've brought it up, but there's something about being from here that like opens people up to want to do more shit for the community, and not that doesn't, obviously that exists in the South, but like more like a bleeding heart liberal type thing where like we want everybody to like have it, and because of the everybody type of lean, that just is a more democratic policy where we're going to increase taxes on this so that we can pay for this, and so I think that's probably where that comes from, and it's been ingrained for so long that so many of the politicians blame Republicans for everything, that if you aren't doing that much research and you're just listening to maybe just your local representative or something, you're going to hear about how the Republicans are obstructing everything. And the Republicans want to do this, and they want to restrict women's rights, and they want to take away your local this, and if that's all that you're hearing, then you're going to just vote Democrat every single time, So there's a large amount of people who take part in public services, food stamps, things like that. And that's going to automatically put you on a more democratic political scale if people who are involved in these programs, or you take part in these programs, or like your family did, or when you were a kid you did. Like that's going to influence that, especially in going along with, if you're being told by your representative that Republicans want to take these things away and they're things that you hold dearly, then that's going to lean you there, That's one thing that for me personally stuck me there for a long time, is that like I grew up on food stamps, I grew up on state insurance, I grew up on all of these things like the welfare state, that when you're hearing forever that Republicans want to take this away, they don't want you to have this, they want to restrict access to this, take this away from these people, well fuck them then, that I'm going to vote for the other people that are going to let me keep this. And I think there are so many people around here that are involved in that. I think it's a big issue in this area.
And I think it's been very interesting because, again, like I lived in Washington, went to New York,
right,
and then I went to Texas. I've been a lot of places, and I think like that vein that you're talking about, where people, it's not like people loving the social programs. I just feel like Washington is a more community state, and I think it's because like there's not as many big cities, and it wasn't a metropolis, right? Seattle's growing, but like even our big cities feel smaller and more kinder, and so like we all like there was a natural vein of like taking together, and I think you're right, the bipartisanship has really drastically increased it, because like even when I came from Washington, that's why I loved it so much. It wasn't even like middle of the road. It wasn't just left or right or anything. It was just like, hey, like we're fine, and like we're kind of obscure just up here in the north, the northwest, right? Like it used to be like the upper left, and now I feel like people see us as California light. And I think that's where because like I don't love where California is going in the direction, but I always appreciated that. Hey, like leave me alone, but like we care about our communities.
Right. And I just use the welfare as an example, because like you said, it's the community thing that I think really reigns true. That because the small towns feel bigger, whatever you're saying, that everybody is concerned about taking care of everybody, and the welfare programs are just an extension of that. It's an easy thing because of the bipartisanship or because of the partisanship and the way that everything is spun.
Yeah.
Like that's an easy thing to get wrapped up in. Taking care of everybody means, oh, well, this program is for everybody when they need it. So if you want to restrict your access to it, then you don't want everybody to be taken care of. You know what I'm saying? That's just an easy issue to be politicized into putting people in a particular corner, you know what I'm saying, or a particular side of the spectrum.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Easily agree. But again, it's tough. Like I don't know how super return back to Washington. Property's too high.
We are
say it. Come on.
Actively discussing. No, not Florida.
Where to go?
Do you want Colin? Colin, perk your ears up at this one because I am fairly certain that Alaska has become part of the discussion. So look at Larry's face.
Southern Alaska is basically no different than Northwest Washington.
This is what I'm going to tell you. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, me, Don, Call, going to just get hammered because they're going to be close. I'm like, oh, we need to see.
Come to Alaska.
Come to Alaska?
Yeah.
Don, what? That was the silliest thing you've ever said.
What's wrong with Alaska, bro?
It's going to be sick.
It's cold up there.
Yeah, I know it's cold up there. I don't like.
We're gonna build a compound.
Keeps the riffraff out. People that can't handle their cold, get them the fuck out.
That C word, people keep throwing that C word around. Compound. A lot of people it's making me nervous that it's gonna turn into the Hunger Games. Everybody's talking.
I don't know. You saw some of that footage. Now,
I will say this though.
You know that we're stepping up our game a little bit. The compound is gonna be pretty much it.
Yep. I will say this though. I mean, if Larry moved up here, it wouldn't give us an excuse to have like a first mission after, the shit hit the fan. We got to go. We got to get down to Larry. We got to scoop him up. We got to bring him back to safety.
Okay. Yeah. Listen. I think the happy medium between.
By the way, Don, your mom is very enjoying this. She said she's cracking up listening to us talk.
This is Kathy Pitts. That's not.
It's Kathy Pitts. Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I know Kathy Pitts.
Oh snap!
We went to. I think she went to Ole, didn't she?
No. Kathy Pitts is Jordan's mom's best friend.
Oh,
I was gonna say she's in a different generation, I believe.
I'm just kidding, Miss Pitts. That's super. I went to high school with Kathy Pitts. I don't think that's so egregious.
Kathy Pitts has a daughter named Christina Pitts that went to school with us.
That might be it.
That's probably her, and I feel terrible.
That's what time and distance does. Don't feel that bad.
Listen, and I was terrible. I didn't talk to anybody.
That's all right.
But I didn't talk to anybody in high school. I was a real loser. This is what I'll say though. We could meet.
That's hard to believe.
Listen, okay, we won't get off topic. But if you want to talk about a topic, I was like antisocial, and no one wanted to play college football more than I did, and that's the only thing I ever thought about. Like I was just like, I will be a Division I athlete, whether it's basketball or football. Turns out when you're 5'3.5", not many basketball teams are coming out for you, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like it's never gonna happen. But
that's tough.
I really want to go. So I was just antisocial. I really didn't do anything. But I think our happy medium, and we can think about it. And honestly, I'll talk to the missus for both of you. I have a nice little PowerPoint that we can put together, that I have put together, and we'll just all.
You still are in the military. That's how you know.
Listen, I love a good PowerPoint. Everything moves on.
I love a good PowerPoint. He says,
I'll be clicking. It's great. Listen, I love it. I like to entertain, and we can all meet Tennessee.
Good PowerPoint.
We could go to Tennessee. It'll be great. It's the best world. No state tax.
Okay, I'll fuck with Tennessee. Is there a large body of water somewhere? I need to pretend like I know the ocean's there.
Yeah, so you're there. So if you go to East Tennessee, it's there. It's close enough that I think I can make a convincing argument.
What about a river that connects to the sea? That's the thing, right?
Okay, rivers are good. River?
Colin, you just exposed me. Geographically speaking, I'm.
You just exposed me.
Listen, I can operate on when I have a map in front of me, I can really move, right? I can, but like geographically speaking, like I didn't know, like, and this is insane. I got wrong less than a month ago the fact that Georgia is below South Carolina. Or
come on, buddy.
No,
come on, buddy.
I thought Georgia. No, 100%. Listen. It's insane because I think like Fort Bragg, and like I'm not even gonna point with my hands because I'm gonna show myself, but I don't geographically. I don't understand it, right? Because like in my head, I've already mixed it up.
Mm-hmm.
And like because I remember talking to friends, I was like, yeah, we'll just go Georgia North Carolina, we'll flow right into Georgia. And then my friends out there like, you mean South Carolina? I was like, no, we'll go Georgia and then right into Florida.
No.
And everyone's just like, yo, you just skipped like 7 states. And I was like, geographically inept. So
it's
when
like
you're
it's
like
New York, Jersey, Georgia, Florida. Larry, I just make fun of you because like most Americans I feel probably have that same problem.
listen,
I will say this. I pulled up
aggressive.
Tennessee on the Google Maps, right?
Yeah, good.
And the western, more or less, the western border of Tennessee is the Great and other. Is it the Missouri River? Or Mississippi
my
River?
God.
Probably the Missouri River, but it connects down to the ocean, so I think we're good.
See,
As long as
River.
as long as I get over there somewhere,
and
we might have to hit
insane.
up Western Tennessee.
Yeah, we could do it. Listen, guys. I think we can do it. I'm looking at a map now, and I now see my mistake. So I was closer than I thought.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, see, so North Carolina technically goes into Georgia. So that's what I'm going to stick with. So
North
but
Carolina
geographically
technically goes into Georgia with that tail. I love it.
Listen, you let your wives know, be like, hey, Larry has a great presentation that he can give you. Apparently, we're meeting in Tennessee. I'm
Because
just
he loves
trying
a good PowerPoint.
100%. Listen, and property values are super normal in there. We can hang out. I feel like that's there.
We can hang out.
100%. I think you'd have access to a tax guy, which is super, super important, I guess.
But it's 2021, Larry. Like we have access to you now.
Yeah, listen, we're not going to focus on the power of technology in the power of technology PowerPoint that I'll be doing.
Because in the end times, there will be no technology. So it totally makes sense.
100%.
You're ahead of the game.
Okay, so I have to use that as a segue because it's the most perfect one. We have to talk about Bitcoin.
But
yes,
the first topic.
We're having way too much fun.
Okay,
on this.
Sorry.
Yeah. Fuck the first. No. Don't be sorry. But I also want this information, so we have to talk about it. And I know that it won't inhibit your fun.
That's like whether we get to it on the podcast or not, you're sticking around on the Zoom chat so that I can get informed about my crypto.
Listen,
so
go ahead.
So we have to talk about Bitcoin. Okay, so that's one of the reasons Larry's here today because we're still doing a live stream. I was forgetting for a minute. I was being really quiet because it was almost like listening to a podcast. Like I was just listening to you guys talk, and I was like, "Yeah, this is rad. Like I'm really enjoying this." Then I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like
Christina.
On
yep,
this.
Kathy Pitt says Christina. By the way,
there it is. I knew.
So, okay. So Bitcoin, Larry. Like 2 weeks ago, I was talking to Colin. I was really upset because there was like several people in my life that I'm being serious. I was
ready to come over to your house and like make sure everything was like, all right, let me inform you.
Upset because there was all these people in my life that was like, I'm buying fucking crypto and I'm fucking, my buddy's like, I got, X amount of $1,000 already sunk into like Ethereum and I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I was getting stressed out because like, I felt like am I late to the game? Like, I don't know that this is the right thing because it wasn't something, and I still don't particularly understand it. Right.
Yeah.
And the end of the world thing was a good segue because when I was talking to Colin about it, I was talking about like gold and shit, like I don't understand like what benefit this provides to me if the world ends. Like if technology, if electricity is not running, why don't I give a fuck about Bitcoin or any of this other shit? Like, is my money not better spent on ammunition or maybe even gold or something? If the argument, like, should I not then buy gold? 100%. And my backup thing has always been like, why am I not buying more bullets? Like, if the concern is at the end of everything, should I not just be buying more bullets? Like, that seems like
more ammo.
When it's more, $1 a bullet, like maybe I should just buy this instead. So Bitcoin cryptocurrency is electronic money, decentralized from the US dollar because it's.
Why don't we just ask Larry? Larry, what is cryptocurrency?
Yeah. All right. So what is cryptocurrency? Okay, let's start with this. So this is my thing when people say, shouldn't I just buy bullets for the end of the world? Are you going to be in an offensive or defensive posture?
Ooh.
When the world ends?
Bullets I feel like are defensive.
Well, most are going to have to be offensive because they're going to be hunting and gathering. Because do you have enough food supply? So then my question is, are you going to, if you're going to defend yourself, who's with you? Do you have enough people? And generally, once we parse that out, people turn to an offensive posture. And you're like, well, are you going to carry all your bullets with you? Like, are you really going to carry all your bullets with you?
No, but that's not the idea.
100%, right? Exactly. Like everybody thinks, like, oh, it's a blaze of glory. I'm just gonna be like Rambo, like attacking like one, but then like after the month's over, you're like fudge your cakes. Like what I did, and I say all that to say this: if the world ends, I'm not gonna be a part of it. Like it's fine. Like, and I'm super like because I always bet on us winning, right? So America staying around. So that's why I don't go super crazy with bulls.
Right.
Yes. So that's the whole point.
That makes sense.
And so cryptocurrency as a thing, I don't understand the theory of cryptocurrency, right? So like, where does it come from? What is it actually? I don't super understand that. That's a little bit above my level. What I can say is it's an
I'll pontificate on that later.
100%. It's an electronic commodity that is decentralized from any central government, right? And the important thing about this commodity is that one day we will be operating and spending Bitcoins, cryptocurrencies, in the same way that we spend our dollars.
And so let me interrupt you real quick, right? Because you've spoken now to two of my concerns, right?
Yeah.
Is if I am of the mind that I have a hard time imagining the world. And maybe this is, short-sighted. There are going to be many people, especially when we're rich and famous, that look back on this and are like, look at what a fucking idiot this is. But I have a hard time imagining the modern world without America in some type of way of how it looks now,
Normalcy bias.
And so I have a hard time thinking of or imagining the world existing without the US dollar. Right.
Yeah.
And in that same line of thinking, like, shouldn't I then just be betting on the US dollar and not be trying to put my US dollars into something else if I'm thinking that America's always going to be around and that the world is like, we're so involved in so many other countries that doesn't everybody needs a dollar, like 100%. That was one of my things. Like, then I'm like, I don't understand why I should not just want more dollars. I should want more of something else. So touch on that, please. Yes.
Are you right? Because you literally,
because I'm sure many people have that same concern.
You alley-ooped and you helped me out, right? So that's the second thing. So the reason is, why do I need Bitcoin if I'm never going to spend a Bitcoin? And that's perfect. So what has happened since March?
A lot of stuff.
Our currency we have injected 60% of our currency in circulation since March, right?
Yep. Yes. 60% of the currency that we have in circulation in the United States has been printed since March.
100%.
Scary.
And so I have seen a lot of new crispy dollars. I will tell you what, that is very interesting.
100%.
And I guess I just, again, short-sighted American, I was like, oh, they're just, replacing the dollars. Like, they're just, well, you have to, X amount of time goes by, you got to recycle them, you got to whatever. I'm like, oh, they're just printing new shit. They're just printing new shit.
We're just printing. And so think of Bitcoin, right? On its base form. Jesus. I just want the judge. Listen. I have to. Okay. I have to. So think of Bitcoin, right? And just whenever I say Bitcoin, just for the podcast sense, like, because Bitcoin's the easiest, it's the main one, but just insert crypto, right? So
I'm synonym for cryptocurrency, whatever 100%. You want. Be it Ethereum or Litecoin, there's 100%. Any number of
EOS, Cardano,
Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Nickels on the dollar, Dogecoin.
Wait. Okay. And then, think of Bitcoin as a store of value, right? So instead of thinking as Bitcoin as your main driver, because you're like, I'm always going to use the US dollar.
Right.
Think of Bitcoin being worth 1/8 of the money supply. So if I tell you to go from dollars into Bitcoin, right, or cryptocurrency, and we inject 60% more money without doing anything, the person who just has dollars, so if I have $1,000, nothing happens. You just get $1,000. And then on top of that, your dollar's worth less because instead of being 1,000 out of 10,000 total dollars, you now have 1,000 out of $100,000, right? And so by keeping it in Bitcoin, that's 1/8 of the total money supply. Whenever they inject money into the economy, you get that store value of having 1/8 of everything that's printed.
Especially because, and let me add this because it's something I actually know, right? Yeah. As far as like the sourcing of Bitcoin, there's only so much Bitcoin.
100%.
Whereas as you just established, the government can literally print more money at any time the Fed is like, do it up, run the printer. Whereas
and we have proven that over the last year.
Time and time again. And especially over the last year. But Bitcoin, it was made by an Asian dude. I do not remember his name, right? Or that it's theorized because I think that the actual
it's an Asian name, but no one knows.
But no one knows who it really is. Yes, who made Bitcoin, and people for a long time, I think people still are, but like we're mining, and they're because you had to find it in the internet. I don't know exactly how that happened or how that fucking worked, but people had like server farms and shit of just computers just running mining for Bitcoin because it was hidden or
And they still do.
Okay, so it is still happening,
yeah,
but there's a finite amount, and there's just not that much left, right? It takes longer and longer to mine a Bitcoin as like the supply of it, the undiscovered supply lessens.
Yeah.
And so, and that led to the big thing with Bitcoin is it's dirty to get to, right? So it creates a lot of pollution. So yes, you're right in theory. Like the theory's outside, but I know it's harder now to get to than it was, right?
Yes.
And that's the big distinction from Dogecoin, right? Dogecoin is inflating its supply more, right? As opposed to Bitcoin, that's kind of nominal, right? And I have to say this technically legally, right? So I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not your financial advisor. And I in no way, shape, or form is this any kind of financial advice. But I don't keep any of my savings in the dollar. I don't have any of my savings in the US dollar. Because, right, whenever, for example, this $1.9 million package gets passed, your dollar is going to instantaneously lose value. And
1.9 trillion.
1.9 trillion is what's on the board, and it may get cut down. But right now, since they're going to go through budget reconciliation, it's probably going to get passed. And they're bringing everything, right? And so our dollar is going to be worth less innately because of the expansion of the supply.
Right.
And so that's why I've told anyone who will listen to me, you don't have to move all your savings. Some people aren't like me. Like I literally have a credit card and I pay it off every month. And then I try to buy real estate, right? And then I keep all my savings portfolio in a different assortment of coins. And I think that's the best way, even if you're like, hey, this is going to fail. If you get into the normal coins, right, the Bitcoins, the Ethereum and Litecoin, you're just going to have that natural store of value over time. And so that's my big push.
And I saw you talking about that on like your Facebook last week, right? That when you were talking about savings account, especially because this came in the wake of Elon Musk and Tesla purchasing some $1.5 billion or whatever.
1.5 billion.
$1.5 billion into the Bitcoin market, right? Yeah. And so that move, and then seeing other, just famous people with a lot of money that were like coming out saying they were invested in the market, provided me personally with more security that it wasn't, because for so long the thing against Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has been that the market for it is volatile as fuck, right? Yeah. That it's, all these small investors that people are continually taking money in and out, and they're doing all this stuff. And so, you could be down $1,000 one day and then up $2,000 the next day, whatever. And when I saw verified, that's how it used to be, right? But when I saw verifiably more people with like, that I know have a shitload of money, more stable source of income, investing in something like that, it gave me personally more peace of mind to know that there is a substantial base to this that isn't just a bunch of individual people with small amounts of Bitcoin that are just trying to make a quick buck. You know what I'm saying?
100%, the good old fashioned pump and dump.
Yeah, and so that kind of cut a little bit of my question away. But so this is what brought me this is you made a post after Tesla purchased all this Bitcoin, talking about how the return in cryptocurrency now was going to be a higher percentage than whatever you could find in any savings account in any bank, essentially any bank. 100%. That if 100%. You could potentially, I think the way you said it's like if you could get 3%, you would be interest on a savings account, you would be absolutely jazzed on it. You would be telling all your friends, check this out.
Yes.
Like this is fucking crazy. Whereas if you put that same money into the crypto market and you wait a year, you're almost definitely going to make more than 3% on that money in 1 year.
100%. And that's the thing where people, like there's two things that you need from your savings: liquidity and store value, right? The whole point of us saving for a rainy day is that when the rainy day comes, that the money, that the $10,000, like what if you put the $10,000 away and now it costs $20,000 because it's been artificially inflated.
Right.
And so with technology, the quickness, the store value will be there. And then the liquidity, with the inflation, the store value is going to be there, right? Because commodity people want, and again, we're not producing it in the same way they're producing money. And the liquidity fashion, like how fast can I get my money? The question I always pose to people is how fast, when it's shot to bank, do you need the money, right? Because if you know the money's there, right? Because right now, if I do a transfer of my Bitcoin from my wallet or my Bitcoin, I have tons of coins. But if I did transfer my money into my wallet, it gets there in 1 day.
Yeah.
Well, on one day I can use my credit card, and then somebody will be like, oh, I'm never going to use a credit card. That's cool. So then why not? Why do you have to keep such a large amount? Like, because most things you can put on a payment plan, right? Just with the store. And then B, like you could be like, hey, we can take care of this later. Like how many people are so caught up when a bad thing happens? Like what bad thing happening denotes you needing the money instantaneously on the spot? Like just think about it. Like what bad thing happening that you're going to replace? Like that day in that moment, I need to pay. Because if you go to the hospital, that bill's coming down the road. If you get your car taken in, that you could be like, hey, I'll pay you a portion of it up front. Or like, hey, I'm leaving the shop, I'll pay for it tomorrow, the next day, right? And the third thing that it's going to do is the world is shrinking and it's getting smaller, right?
Yeah.
So if you have someone that lives all over the world and you need to give them money, what needs to happen? You need to wire it to them because it's an international bank, right? And so that's going to take 7-10 days. They then need to change currencies, which is going to be a nominal fee. It's going to be more. Well, if you have, for example, XRP, if you had EOS, Cardano, and that's the way that you could transport money, the money's there instantaneously.
Yeah.
And as the world gets closer, that's going to become a bigger issue, right? If you're paying an employee out, right, that's an international worker, it's going to become faster and more convenient to pay them out of a cryptocurrency because it's more bang for the buck on their side, excuse me, and it's going to end up being cheaper for you. And so again, I'm bullish on currency. I'm the furthest in the spectrum. I will never have a savings account in America that holds money. Period.
Yeah.
End of statement.
Fucking money where your mouth is, Larry.
100%.
Now on, when did you sink all your savings into crypto?
Literally 3 months ago.
Okay.
Woo,
And so let me ask you this.
To do it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you
good.
this, because one of my other big concerns, especially when I was like talking to Colin a couple weeks ago and I was upset, right, is that I am married. I got a kid, and we have one income. Right, my wife is a stay-at-home mother, and so we're not flush with cash, And we have debt from old medical stuff. And it's whatever, right? We have debt that we're actively working on paying off, and that's 2020 was shitty for us because that was like our year of hustle and grind and whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And
you're
now
you're like a standard American individual.
100%.
You guys, you tied up.
Right. And I certainly, and just to add to that, I don't say any of this to be like, we're in a fucking bad position, but just to relate that there are many, many, many people in America that are in extremely similar circumstances,
100%.
that, like, we don't have like a big savings account or anything like that. Like, that is not the life that we lead, We have a bunch of friends that are like single and like work in the shipyard and stuff like that. So they got cash flow, So like my best friend in particular, he's worked in the shipyard for 6 or 7 years, like a long time. He's the same age as I am, so he's single. He's got a house, he's got a car, he's got good revenue, So he's just taking his extra money, he's putting it in there, So seeing things like that gave me pause, because I'm like, all that I can do is like put in $20 a week, like that's all that I can afford. I don't have, and that's it. And so that was my huge concern. Like I'm too late to the game. There are people who are already investing all this money, already doing this, already. And so is that true? Am I too late to the game? Are people like me too late to the game?
No. So this is what I'll say, right? So like there's two kinds of people in this category. Like I can't put a ton of money in there. Fine, cool. Like I know what you want from me. Like I think in the hierarchy of things that you need to do, like when we were paying down debt too, right? We didn't put any money in savings either. Like 100%. If you're on that debt grind, that's fine. If you're putting any money in any capacity in a savings account, you are better putting 5%. And this is why I tell people, like, I don't want to put everything in there. Then don't put 5 to 10% of your portfolio. Because again, in this moment, we're not making money, right? So like when you're like, oh man, people have already made their money, like that's fine, but that's a different conversation. Like, are we investing for growth? And you're not.
Right.
We're talking savings. So if you're putting anything in savings, I'm trying to help you fend off inflation that is coming. And the easiest way to show that we have an inflationary period is we saw stocks were supposed to dip by 30%, right? That was like the close one. So either all the experts are simultaneously wrong, or the injection of money into our market is artificially driving up the prices of our stocks and commodities, which is by definition inflation. So it exists whether we like it or not, right? We either had the most craziest growth of all time, or the systematic quantitative easing, the buying back of stocks took effect. I think it's the buying back of stocks and quantitative easing measures that we took. So it exists.
It's the only thing that makes sense. when you think about it, Larry. From what we went through over this past year, where the economy all but came to a grinding halt in a vast majority of the market, the only thing that saved us is the stock market 100%. And the fact that people could speculate their money and move things around and short sale and blah, 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 and do all these different things that you can.
Right,
without the stock market, things like inflation would have killed us.
Because there were no guarantees. Let's all remember this, right? Yep. And if I'm wrong, somebody fucking tell me now. But I feel 99% sure in the first big ass coronavirus package, there were no guarantees that people could not use the money to buy back their own stocks to bolster their companies when they got it. You know, you couldn't use the PPP program to do that because you had to use that to pay your employees. But if you got any other type of government assistance as a corporation, you could use that to buy back your stock. And I think the only thing was that you couldn't pay out, like you couldn't take a bonus check based off of the repurchasing of your stock. Like you could do it, but you couldn't then write yourself a bonus check because of that. I think that was the only stipulation to that.
See, in that, but like that's just for the PPP EIDL loan. Like you need to go online and be like, hey, did our Federal Reserve buy stocks from our stock market? So like outside of that scope, rich people participated in a whole different activity, which is fine. I don't like to sit here and bitch, but like that's why I tell people all the time, and I'm gonna keep telling people till I die. And I'm gonna do it until I'm blue in the face. And everyone's like, which coin should I invest in? And I try not to tell them because I would feel terrible if the coin didn't work. Because I don't know which coin's going to work and which coin's gonna be around. But if you're saving in any capacity, in any form, in any measure, in anything, you need to look at putting part of it in cryptocurrency. And everyone's like, oh, just put it in gold. Gold's not gonna. When's the last time you saw anybody do anything with gold in a commerce fashion? Like, hey, I like Don, I like that hat. Let me give you a couple gold shillings. Because we don't do it, right? We think it's a store of value, but we see all over the place that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is being traded.
Yeah, there was a period in which gold almost became a spendable commodity. There was a couple companies, I forget what it was. I heard them advertise on podcast stuff where like, you buy gold with us and we will give you a card, a credit card, debit card, whatever, that's linked to your account that you can go spend anywhere you want. Like, but it disappeared. It never really took off. And that's, I think that's one of those attempts.
Anytime gold has been, that's why like when the conversation about cryptocurrency were restored, that was my first thing. I was like, this is fucking gold. Like, this is the same fucking thing. Why the fuck do I need this? It doesn't make any sense. Except it's not real. Except I can't even touch it. Not real, but they won't even send it to my house in like in a little plastic sheet or anything. They're just like, yeah, it's there, you know? But I see now, like in the conversations we've had and stuff like that, it's this seems more viable to me than gold. And again, I'm not even close to a financial advisor. I'm less than a financial advisor than you are.
I'm a financial spender.
Do not listen to me because you will get in trouble if you do whatever I have done.
I just did my taxes. The IRS should be here in 20 minutes.
No
exactly.
Knock, knock. Oh, hello. Is that you?
And see, and that's
that was my thing. Is like, what are you going to do with gold? Like, why am I buying that? Because if the world goes to shit, what am I going to do with it?
You're going to carry it around when you go?
We're using it for electronics right now. That's the biggest thing people are like actually using gold for is for in electronics, little thin sheets or whatever. I'm not going to thin out gold and make electronics if the world ends. I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to have the ability or the skill or the technology to recreate technology using fucking gold sheets, you know?
Yeah. So we have a question here. I think this is a perfect time to interject this question from the chat here. From Sid Rain. I would like to get into cryptocurrency, right? This person would love to get into cryptocurrency. Larry
I did it 2 days ago.
And perfect. So I want to hear Larry's version of it, and I want to hear Don's version of it. How does somebody that is not in the crypto market get into crypto?
No, Don, tell him how you did it. Because I think it's great that you just started.
I bet you like Don learned from Larry.
Well, so this is what happened. When I was freaking out a couple weeks ago, I was like, I can't afford crypto. I don't know what to do, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, Dogecoin. Like, I have to get Dogecoin because that's the only thing that I can fucking afford. right?
It's all right. It's called
listen,
Dogecoin.
listen. Right. And so I was like, Kraken, like I have to go Kraken and all this stuff. And so I downloaded Kraken, and I was really just using that just to like look at the market, because you have to like verify yourself and other stuff. So it wasn't until I spoke to you, Larry, that I actually bought crypto. And so I downloaded Uphold, the app that you recommended. And it took fucking 5 minutes, right? 100%. So Sid, Uphold, right? I went there, and you fill out a little bit of information, and then you can connect your debit card to it, and you just purchase whatever you want in whatever denomination, however much money you want. So again, because of the financial situation that me and my wife were in, I don't have a bunch of money to put in crypto, right? And if you do, then that's awesome. But I don't. I have a little bit of money. I put cash aside a week for the things that I want to save for, because I don't want to put it in savings or anything like that, because it doesn't make any sense. But this, I was like, if I have $20 a week, I'm just going to pick whichever cryptocurrency is down that day, and I'm going to buy that. And that's maybe that's the only thing, is just buying a dip, right? That's what everybody says, buying a dip. So I looked at
that's the stock standard right there.
Stop, please stop. But yeah,
exactly. It's so I don't know anything about money, and I know about bullets. I buy bullets.
I know about bullets.
I know, and so there's like a couple of big ones. Bitcoin, like I said, Ethereum, Dogecoin, shit like that. Dogecoin I just followed because now it's really popular and shit. But Ethereum was down more than Bitcoin that day, so I just bought $20 worth of Ethereum.
Good,
and that was it. Call. And I moved on.
It's a good call.
Listen, the good news is you did it right. So the only one that I really
buying a dip, right?
So listen, I love that you bought the dip. All right, listen, you did the right thing. If you would have told me and said, this is where I don't love buy the dip, because someone just heard that, right? Because it's going to go out. People are going to listen to it. And someone's like, okay, I'm going to wait for a dip.
Don't wait.
There you go. That's the only thing I don't want. See, so that Uphold's perfect.
Yeah.
Coinbase Pro. So I use Coinbase and Uphold, right? So I use Coinbase Pro and I use Uphold. I like to have two separate exchanges.
Because you said, right, because you said you never have just one.
No, because Robinhood, right? So like whenever we're buying something from somewhere, we're operating on their stuff, right? So if I'm on someone's highway, they can instantaneously change the rules. 99.99997% of the time, I don't care that they change the rules. But there's going to be one time at some point where I'm like, I don't like that rule you just did, right?
Like the Robinhood.
100%
style.
100%.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
called
it was
a segue.
Literally.
Not yet. We're not done.
Not yet. We need to keep this trade going.
And so I recommend two different ones, right? And the coin portfolio, I think, Colin, did I send you my coin portfolio?
No, you didn't. But apparently, we're basically the same.
No, we're very similar. Like the big one right now for like you, Don. Like if you're like, Larry, what crypto am I getting in right now? Understanding that in no way, shape, or form is this any kind of financial advice. But you're like, Larry, you're me. What are you doing? I got like $28. You go into Algo.
Yep. ALGO.
ALGO. And this is why. There's multiple reasons why. And again, I cannot press enough, for the love of God.
I'm down like 12 cents in that right now.
Well, listen, I got, oh God bless.
But I'm making 6%, so it's fine.
I'm looking at Algo right now.
100%. And you go into Algo. And the reason why Algo, and I'm like literally just in, right? So, because I don't know which one's going to win. So instead of going all in on one,
that one's not on, sorry, go ahead.
No, well, it's going to be on Coinbase Pro. And that's another reason why I'm going to do on two. So download Coinbase Pro. Do Pro, not Coinbase, please. You keep saying it, and I don't like Coinbase. Like Coinbase Pro. Yes, the fees are just cheaper in general, so you get more bang for your money.
That makes sense.
100%. Like the fees are like just statistically cheaper. So I like.
Is there a different? Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but just for clarity, is there a different app from Coinbase to Coinbase Pro?
Yes.
Okay.
One's a blue sea and one's a black sea. You want the black sea.
Do you pay for one and not the other?
No. There's literally. I have no idea why it's different.
Then
it just. One is Pro. You can pay, but to get the lower fee, you don't have to pay.
So in other words, I've been paying extra money per transaction for no fucking reason.
Yes, with all the same coins on the thing. But so
delete Coinbase right now. I just downloaded Coinbase Pro.
Yes.
I'm going to delete Coinbase. So
now I need to figure out how to move all of my crypto.
They let you do instantaneous transfers from Coinbase to Coinbase Pro for free.
That was another question that I had. Okay, because you have two different, what are these called? Exchanges that you're purchasing? Yes. Okay, so you have two different exchanges. Do you also have a crypto wallet that you have connected to these things that you have connected to,
Yeah,
because that's what
this is 100%. Listen, Dom, you're going to download Coinbase Pro. For you specifically, $28, you're going to put $28 a month, or sorry, $28 or however much money at
20
your
a week. That's what I
week.
decided is I'm going to put 20 a week in whatever
100%.
crypto is down at that moment. I get paid every Friday. So every Friday I pay my bills in the morning before I go to work. And then I come home from work and I, do whatever after work.
Friday.
That's just the easiest way for like, if
I'm on board because
then I know
into
exactly
the weekend,
how much money I have.
taken care of.
Exactly. I know exactly how much money I have, and I can see what things are going to come out on Monday and whatever, and then I know exactly how much money I have, how much money we have. And so when I get home, I'm just going to take $20 and buy whichever crypto is down the most at that moment.
Yeah.
And then move on to next week. Like I said, I did it on Friday. I did on Thursday, and then last night I went to go to bed, and I was like, I fucking made $1.50 today. Like
100%.
That's awesome.
And so you don't have to go all into algo, right? Because again, I would be wrong.
I bought Ethereum yesterday.
You can't lose with the ones you named. So you named Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. You're just not going to lose on those, right? So I have 12 coins that I invest in, right? And I literally say I'm going.
I thought you meant you have 12 Bitcoins, and I was like, holy balls, Larry.
No.
I mean,
Bitcoin is like 40 grand a piece. Yeah,
I would be making flights home. I would be making flights home for this podcast.
That's why I'm like, why are you in the military still if you're sitting on 14
contracts
coins?
were signed, bro.
100% contract decisions were made. So the good news is I just went on here and everything I have is up. So that's cool. But anyway, so choose your 12 and literally take your $20. And I swear to God, so you have to divide it. You have to do at least $5, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the caveat. So you can pick 4 coins. So for you, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and look at me, Don. If I walk near you and you're like, hey, I'm still not invested in Algo, I'm going to punch you as hard as I can in the nuts.
Okay, I'll do that one next week.
Yeah. So, you should do $5 a week in each coin. And it doesn't matter if you're saying you're buying $1 billion.
$5 a week in every coin.
Yes. And then with your Algo, I want you to download the Algorand app. ALGORAD, RAND, right? And then I want you to put all your 100% put all your Algo in that wallet. And then that wallet's going to pay you a 7% APY, which is a 7% interest rate. So your bank account pays you 1%. And Algorand's going to pay you 7% of something that's worth more than $1. So hear me out. If you have $100 in Algorand.
What?
Yes, literally. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why when people are like, don't do this, you're an idiot. I'm just like, listen, this is what I'm saying, right? So you're going to make 7% on so for every 100 Algorand you have, right? You're going to make 7 Algorand. Mm-hmm. Well, Algorand right now is worth $1.50. So for every 1 Algorand you make $1.50. Yep. So why, if you're getting a better interest rate in something that's worth more than $1, would you ever save in the dollar? Because not only are you not matching the interest rate, we're not even matching the interest rate yet, but $1 is not equal to 1 Algorand. So just sit there and just think about it conceptually. Like, again, right? I'm getting fired up because like I literally is just like, holy Toledo. Like I'm getting cheated because you tell me what is the reason to be in cash except to spend. And everyone's like, well, when I liquidate, I have to pay taxes. Well, listen, if I gave you $1 million and said, hey, I'm giving you it, and said you have to pay 50% of that in taxes, you'd be like, well, I don't care because I got it for free. That's what Algo is. That's what crypto is. They're giving you money and you don't get all of it. But if I said you only made a 62% rate of return, you're gonna be like, well, I still make more than that 1% that I would get on your daily average balance.
Yeah.
And
like
so
go ahead.
I was going to say, just because you mentioned taxes, Larry, and I know that you've also talked about this previously on social media, if you own cryptocurrency, right? Let's say I bought cryptocurrency in 2020, and now I have to pay my taxes in 2021. How do I go about paying taxes on whatever I purchased in cryptocurrency last year?
So crypto's different. Taxes? Crypto's different than stocks. Once you buy the crypto, if you exchange it for another crypto, if you give it to somebody, if you sell it, obviously, or you buy something with it, then you're going to be taxed on it, right? Because I said it
during the transaction.
Yeah, so the transaction.
Okay.
And here's how you're taxed, right? So it's treated like stocks in the sense that you have ordinary tax and long-term capital gains tax.
Yes.
So for my stuff, I haven't held anything for a year. So I was going to hold XRP. It doesn't matter. If you hold it less than a year, you're going to be taxed at your marginal tax rate, right? And the marginal tax rate is just the normal tax brackets, 10, 12, 22, 24, 35, 37, right? So whatever bracket you're in, the average American's in either 12 or 22. That's what you're going to get taxed in. And how it's calculated is if you bought in for 100, and when you took out, it's worth 110, you're only taxed on that $110.
Okay.
Or sorry, I'm sorry. If you put it in for 100 and you took it out for 110, you're only taxed on the $10, the difference in what you made.
Okay.
And if you hold it longer than a year, it goes into the capital gains bracket, which is 0, 15, 20. So 0% for you, because you're married, is $0 to $80,000. And then 15% is $80,000 to $446,000. And then 20% is anything over that number.
And just to be clear for me and for other people, capital gains is like money. It's not like worked income. It's money that you made outside of your work hours.
No, it's an investment. It's investments held for longer than a year.
Okay.
So when you invest, and again, the only thing you're taxed on, so when you put it in your bank account, and you won't use it because it's not your daily driver of savings, but like next year, we're going to be hanging out, and you're like, holy shit, Larry's fucking made me $2,000 in this MF, right? And you're like, oh no, I sprained a toenail. And you're like, okay, I need to go in for massive invasive surgery for a sprained toenail, right? They're going to dig it out.
I like this scenario. This is
100%. Listen, the toenail, I think it's the one thing on the human body. If someone lost, I wouldn't feel super bad about it. So they're going to pull your toenail and you're like, oh, that's $112 and I don't have it. And you took it out. That money that you took out because you held it for a year, that gain is tax-free. So again, everyone's like, oh no, when most of the gains you're going to get from it are going to eventually be tax-free. Because again, people underestimate how often we use our savings. We just like looking at the number.
Right.
And I'm trying to separate people from the need to see the number. Because again, it's superfluous, right? Net worth is dumb. Like Jeff Bezos, he never talks about being a billionaire. He talks about it in measures of where he wants his business. And then when he goes to acquire something. Like Elon Musk didn't care about being a billionaire once he made it to a billion because it was a measure of achievement.
Right.
So go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, when I think about, like, for me personally, when I think about like being wealthy, I don't have like an idea of how much money I want. I want to be able to buy the things that I want and not have to worry about it.
100%.
That's my idea of wealth. It's not like you said, not like $1 billion. It's like I want to be able to come across something and either be like, oh, I'm going to wait a month, and then like I got it, or be like, I don't need to worry about it because I just have X amount of dollars.
100%. Like if I told, and Colin's a little different because he has a business, but if I told you guys, like it's kind of the same. If I told you that Jordan and Colin would always be able to pay their employees whatever they wanted to pay them, and then they would never worry about buying anything they want to do, from the security of their home to the trips they want to take with your guys' beautiful wives and for Jordan and her beautiful husband, and like that's your life. You guys are like, that's fine. I don't care what the number is.
Right.
And so like, why do we obsess with the number? Because again, we've been tricked again. And I don't like that there's some white conspiracy, but right now it's not prudent. It's not fun to say like, oh, like Larry, like, what do you do with your money? Like, I'm always broke because I never have any money because all my money, so as soon as it touches my account, I'm either going to spend it, try to get into a real estate deal, or it's going into crypto, period. And so, but people get obsessed with the number and like having it tangible, like transferring it. I'm just like, who cares? It doesn't matter.
So it's kind of almost like that like the kind of like nagging desire to constantly see the number and watch the number and watch it, do whatever it is, might be more of like a legacy action.
100%.
Something that like we're used to doing from back in the old days when we probably shouldn't do that nowadays.
No, right. And I think in every way, shape, or form, like we there's so much growth. Like think about your podcast is the best thing. If I said, hey, I want you to operate the same way you guys did in your first episode, you'd look at me like I had a dick coming out of my head.
Yeah,
but we're trying to
be a bad idea generally.
100%, right? But if I tell you that, hey, we're going to operate differently financially, since when we started this MF, you'd be like, no, we got to do the way we've always done it, right? But then you layer on all these socioeconomic issues coming up, again, massive influxes of dollars. Everybody think like, and again, very small number of people have ever said this. Everyone's like, oh, you're just trying to pump and dump. And I was just like, listen, I love you for thinking I have the influence to drive up a stock that has like $25 million worth. And so I love you for this, right? You're my ultimate hype man. But the same day,
$1,000,000 into this baby, bro. And it's worth 135,000 times more than that.
100%. And that's why I'm telling people, because like I literally have people in my life who put $70,000 into Algorand and it's literally instantaneously quadrupled. And everyone's just like, well, not everything's going to quadruple. And I'm like, you're right. But your money in your bank account is less. It's going down. And like everybody, but again, you see the number, so you don't feel it. Okay. And that's why stocks are weird. Because again, me and Colin know, because like, you know, we're degenerates and we talk to each other about it. We're like, feels good today. And then we're literally like, it feels terrible today. Like you're going to look at your cryptocurrency and you're going to be like, yo, I'm going to beat the shit out of Larry.
I'm trying not to look today, bro. It's been a rough day.
100%. Listen, I was last night going to bed. I was like, I am to
lost my dollar.
Yep.
You see,
you lost your dollar.
My dollar.
Fuck you, Donovan. It's a goddamn dollar.
I know, 100%. Like, listen, there's literally days where I'll come in. I was like, God, if my wife paid attention to this, like, she'll leave me. She'll literally leave me.
Yeah. If she saw this number, I would be divorced tomorrow.
100%. And you're just like, oh my God. And then that, but like, once you separate yourself, where like, again, you don't lose any money if you haven't sold it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you
that's because tomorrow it'll be back up there.
100%.
I said that to Jordan today, and maybe it's just because it was just $1, but like I saw it, I was like, well, like it's gone down X amount of percent. I was like, and it's messed because I don't like give a shit. It's like because I'm not doing anything with that. Like I don't want that $20 right now. Like you said, it's not. Yeah. I don't need it. I'm not going to take it out. I'm not trying to sell. I'm not like, oh fuck, I'm going to lose all of my whole dollars. Like I'm going to wait in like 3 days. I'll probably have gained $2. You know.
Well, let's put it
like
in
I don't need to wait. It's like so passive. You know.
Yeah, let me put it in a perspective that a lot of people understand, right? A lot of people have some kind of arrangement with their workplace to say, I'm going to give you 3% of my paycheck to invest in, say, Edward Jones, to give to an Edward Jones advisor, and they're just going to invest it for me, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't
get your brain out of my pay stubs, Colin.
Well, I mean, the same brain, bro. I talk to my Ed Jones dude all the time. He's a good dude. He's a smart guy because he's young and he pays attention to shit. And I really like him for that.
Yeah.
But like you give that 3%.
Need a new Edward Jones person.
you let it go. And then you talk to your guy every 6 months to a year. And then you're either up or down. And that's what it is. It's kind of a set it and forget it type of thing. Right. And then the idea is by the time you're 65 or whatever it is, whenever you want to retire, however much you've put in, you generally have more at the back end than you did putting into it. That's the general concept. Same kind of thing with crypto. I mean, and stocks in general too. I mean, not everybody is a day trader where you go in there and you're buying a stock for $1 and then a week later it's worth, by the end of the day, I should say, it's worth like $1.05, and then you try to sell and you make money off of that, whatever that 5% increase is.
Yeah, being a degenerate, yeah,
exactly.
I'm a degenerate, so I can say it. I'm a degenerate. All right, I love day trading.
I know. I used to be all over that actually when I was younger in a previous life, which is funny.
Yeah.
But now it's like you get pluses and minuses, but if you give it 6 months, at the end of the day, you're probably going to make 6 to 10%.
Yeah.
If you just let it sit there. And so like you can bother your mind with that whole, you check it every day. And like, as of Friday, I was up $50 in my overall portfolio. As of today, I'm down about 5.
100%.
Like, but by the end of next week, I'll probably be up 15. So you can't kill yourself over the everyday stuff.
Let me ask you this, Larry. It's not exactly an equal comparison because they don't do the same thing, but there are apps like Honey, that will like take the remainder of, for anybody who doesn't know, like you make a purchase, it's like
that's
whatever
Acorn, I think, right? Honey is the
what the fuck am I thinking of?
Honey
you're
is
the thinking of
thing.
Yeah, you're thinking of that's Mr. Beast. You're thinking of freaking what's it called? It's not Chirp. What is it called? Acorn,
yeah. What's the Honey app?
Honey app's the one where you click it,
automatic coupon codes.
Oh,
like I got that shit on my browser.
Okay, yeah, okay.
He's trying to buy a pizza. He's trying to buy a pizza. Honestly,
so that's why I wrote that down. You just talked about that the other day. Okay, so so it is. It's the Acorns app that I'm talking about. So the Acorns app, right, where you purchase something and if it's like $1.50, it takes the other 50, rounds it up to $2, takes the 50 cents, puts it in a stock portfolio, and then diversifies it, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not exactly the same thing, but if that's that will eventually accumulate into a large enough portfolio that people are going to use that, in the stock market, whatever. And it's, as Colin said, the same idea as a retirement. That it's the idea is that you'll make money on it. So do you think that it's a better idea to invest that money, the leftovers, if you will, the $20 a week, into crypto instead of the stock market? If that's all you have, if all you can do is an Acorns app and just do your leftovers, or all you can do is $20 a week, is it better that I try and find a stock to invest in for $20 a week, or that I put my 20 and put it in the crypto market?
So this is what I'll say. So the first thing is I hate Acorn. So you brought it up.
Okay,
right?
so don't use Acorns.
So hear me.
Why do you hate Acorns?
Okay, perfect example. You love to shoot, right? You love to shoot, Don, don't you?
Yes.
Walk me through your process of shooting. Just quickly, just like when you pick up a rifle, what's the first thing you do with the rifle when you pick it up and then walk onto the range? Just walk us through it real quick.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check to make sure that it's loaded or not, right?
100%, yep.
And if it's not, I'm going to take the magazine, I'm going to insert it, I'm going to walk up, I'm going to take the safety off, I'm going to put it to my shoulder, side alignment, side picture, make sure I'm good, fire, finger on the trigger, fire.
Good. That whole process, you were actively involved. You were actively doing it. So why would I have an app be passive for me when you would agree the best results coming from being active and intentional?
I see where you're going with this.
So that's why I don't like Acorn. Like, it's cool in a thought, but that's literally when people are like, oh, I only invest in Acorn. I'm just like, why would you passively let that happen?
That's the Ed Jones argument.
100%.
Why would you give some random firm 3% of your income to invest whatever way they think is better?
100%. When you don't know, like, it's different. If I would rather someone know that portfolio and be like, I actively want to be into it. But when I talk to Acorn people, I'm like, how much are you doing monthly? When they're just like, oh, well, I don't know, but it's good to say more. Well, I actively just force myself to invest more, and it hurts. Who's doing it better? Who's doing it better? It's not me. I'm just being intentional with it, so I know where my money is. And so I love that. Go ahead.
So let's pull back a little bit, right? When it comes to something like Acorn, right? Acorn, I don't know if Acorn does crypto or if it's just stocks, right?
Stocks.
I believe it's just stocks.
Yeah.
But the act of passive investment, where you're kind of the Ed Jones style, I give 3%, boom, you do with what you want.
100%.
Would you rather have the vast majority of Americans in a passive investment frame of mind versus not at all?
Yeah. Because
a lot of people won't do anything if it's not for something like Acorn.
Right. Like, I don't have the time or the patience to, like you guys are trying to, like, actively day trade, to be paying attention to what's going on, to be tracking stocks. Like, I got other shit going on, that I can't be tapped into the market, making sure that I'm getting the best deals and selling at the right time and shit.
And no. So I'm comfortable with that. So, like, again, this is where I just want a slight distinction, right? I'm okay with you putting it in a S&P 500 fund.
Oh,
right? Or a bonds fund, right? And you're like, hey, I'm just
something
gonna
like super safe.
100% super safe, super comfortable. And like, you're like, I don't follow it, so I'm just gonna put it into the fund. But what I want people doing every single month, week, whenever you invest, is I want you to make that verbal, mental, and emotional handshake with yourself is, this is how much money I'm putting in. And so you have to be an adult. You have to be like, hey, this is my budget. This is how much I'm putting in, and this is intentional. I don't like Acorn because it's happening to you. I don't care that you invest in their funds. Like, I don't love their funds, but like, I would 100% rather people be in the market in some capacity. But I'm not telling you to be like a day trader with 7 screens up, or be a degenerate like me and be like, hey,
it's only 3, Larry. Don't hate on me. Come on.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Only 3 screens.
And I'm even worse than Colin, because I literally just be like, this looks good, and I just throw money in there because I'm actually actively a freaking degetnerate. All right.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
just
the nice thing about Coinbase. It tells you what's the biggest gainer today.
100%.
Buy that. Fuck it.
I
$5 into that.
What's the biggest loser? And listen, I would be lying to you if I said, what's the bigger loser stock on the market today? And I just go to that. I'm just like, stocks only go up. Like, listen, I'm a degenerate too. I just want people actively make it. Like, your situation is perfect. Like, you said, hey, Larry, I have $20 a week to invest. I'm going to put this in the market. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't look down on you. I don't think you're worse than me. You're like, hey, Larry, I got $20. I'd rather be in stocks. Great. Good in the market. Hey, Larry, I'd rather be in, like, Larry, you're an idiot for investing in XRP. It fucking got audited by the SEC and went down to 16 cents. You're a fucking loser. I'm going to respond with, it's at 63 cents today, and I'm fucking up massive, but fuck it.
Whoop.
But I just want you to actively make the decision, and then you go find the professional if you want to. Like, I don't love IRA. I have a self-directed IRA. I have like an issue. I need to be in control, right? Yeah, I need to be in control. I'm obsessed with it, and it's fine. But
if there's one thing I think we've established this episode, it's like Larry likes to be in control.
And he will fight you for it.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I don't want to, because I don't want to ever blame anybody for losing, right? Because, like, again, if your stock before goes down at the end of the day, you're like, okay, it's kind of his fault. I like it to be like in my mirror, like, hey, I fucking hate you today, dude. Or, hey, I love you. We did it. All right. Most of the time I hate myself, but it's fine.
It's the active thing we do to each other every day in the mirror.
100%.
Except this time I check my Coinbase wallet before I look at myself in the mirror. I go, you're a fucking idiot today. Hey, guess what? You're up $50, buddy. You're going to have a great day.
100%. And like, that's it. So like that's my ultimate thing. Like if anybody, like I'm not a financial professional because I would be sick to the stomach if I ever lost anyone's money.
It's okay that your Twitter handle is Larry the Tax Guy, but that's
okay. I'm a tax person. I'm not going to help you make
person.
Money. Yeah, tax person.
That's
not
right.
a finance. It's like finance guys like Wall Street, Edward and Jones, JP Morgan.
So that is funny. Real quick, just a quick aside.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed, especially with this GameStop thing, which I think we kind of need to press on soon.
Yeah.
I have heard everyone I've heard talk about GameStop and the situation with it and its stock going up and down and all the whole thing. Before they talk about anything, they come out front and center and say, I am not a financial advisor.
Yeah.
Why is it? I mean, you're just more in the financial game than both of us. So why is it, Larry, in your perspective, that like
because you can get sued,
feel the need because you can get sued,
liable,
yeah, that's really like I'm liable. Like even though you're a consenting adult in the conversation, if I have a platform or I sway you, you can literally be like, hey, this guy's giving financial advice and he's not a professional. Like I want to sue him for money, and you could win.
See, I don't understand that.
Well,
I don't understand that at all.
This is America.
100%.
This is America. You could sue people for telling you to make bad decisions.
It's the same woman who drops coffee on
a cafe,
and she burns herself, and she's like, "Well, McDonald's didn't tell me it was hot," and then she wins the lawsuit.
I sometimes hate America, and that's one of the aspects that I fucking hate.
And I hate it, but like I have to say it because, like again, like people will tell you, like I have to draw a firm demarcation. Like, listen, like this isn't that, and like this is why. But like at the end of the day, like. I don't, and that's why, and this is why, like morally or ethically, I'm like, hey, I'm in multiple cryptos. This is why I'm telling people after I've already done it for multiple months, right? So like, if you come to my bank account, you're like, what's that money? And then you're going to see it in a week. You're like, you have 18 cents in your bank account. Like, what is wrong with you? I'm just
like don't worry about it. I just haven't cashed in yet, man. What's up?
I got mad coins though, dog.
Yeah, great coinage. But like, if I see something and if I see a trend, and not that I'm smarter than everyone, because I definitely wasn't the first one to do it, and because Elon did it before, like. Yeah. Elon didn't even do it that day. He announced that he did it. Right?
It's a new shirt. Elon did it first.
Yeah, Elon did it first, bro.
I want that.
Listen, okay. I'm about the shirts and those. Right.
Let's say before we
get
into much else, right? I just want to make sure like we still have room before we get into because we do need to address what happened with GameStop.
Yep.
The whole GME thing, and we've been on this crypto thing for a while. So I don't want to cut anybody off, but I have one question to make sure we get to before we get to the GameStop stuff.
Okay, send it.
So that being said, we talked earlier about kind of like the run on the market situation, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about inflation and how crypto can help kind of prevent that. Depending on, let's say, you put $100 or $10 or whatever into crypto, and then all of a sudden tomorrow Joe Biden comes out and orders $2 trillion worth of US dollars be printed.
Yep.
Currency value comes down. Your currency value stays the same because it's it might fluctuate, but it's more solid.
Yep.
Yeah.
What would happen? Let's just pretend we're putting on our crazy caps here, or our tinfoil hats, right? If all of a sudden the bottom of the US dollar drops out tomorrow because this $1.9 trillion we're adding to the deficit here pretty soon, that was it. That was the bottom of the barrel. We punched the bottom of it out, and the US dollar ain't worth shit anymore. But all of our money is kept in crypto.
Yeah.
In the past, when the dollar falls out, inflation kicks in, everybody instantly overnight is poor because the money they have ain't worth shit anymore.
Yep.
how can the crypto market help protect you against that? Does it help protect you against that?
I think so. So now we're getting into theory, right? The theory of crypto.
Because this is theory. Okay, so this is theory. I guess that was my first question. At the end of the day,
well, it's the end state that's been built in, that's been said, but we don't know, so it's theory, right? And this is why I gravitate to crypto as the store value versus gold, because we trade in the things that we find worth, right? So like at the end of the day, bartering, right? When we started this off as bartering. Don, this is how money started, right? We'll do it quick. Don has an apple pie. You have a cherry pie. I have a peach pie.
Cherry pie's better.
100%.
Ooh, peach pie? Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Fuck.
So I want apple. Don wants peach, right? So we're like, oh, it's nobody wants trade. No one wants cherry. So it's a 1-for-1 trade. But then I want apple. Don wants cherry, and you want peach. So it's easy because we're in a community. And so we're like, okay, Don, you take mine, you take Don's, and I take yours. Everyone's happy. Now, what happens when I want apple, Don wants your cherry, but you want bananas?
Ooh, because bananas are legit.
100%. But now we've hit a roadblock to commerce. Commerce stops and it can't expand. So the dollar,
in currency.
100%. Dollar gives us a unified fiat that we say has this much worth and increases the malleability or the flexibility of our trading. So the question is, and why I think crypto is going to work, is I think crypto will be the thing that provides that same malleability of trading. The question is will the currency drop off before we get there, or will it drop off after? Because we're already seeing Bitcoin being a form of trading. And it will, I think the goal is that when the dollar drops out, we'll all be operating enough in Bitcoin. It's just immature and we're not there yet, right? And I think that's what America is going to really hold on tight to. Because
not only America, but the world, because how many other nations buy our debt, invest in our debt, rely 100%. On our debt being the fiat to their own currency?
100%.
100%. I was just going to say,
go ahead.
Let me ask a question off of your question, Colin, that if because this has always been my big thing, gold and, America falling apart versus the world falling apart and all that stuff, right? So if just the American dollar falls out, and like Colin said, we have our money invested in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But the whole rest of the world is pretty much still fine. The rest of the world is also investing in Bitcoin at the same time. So you could theoretically, feasibly, right, move to France and then take that Bitcoin and pull it out in this. Is it just euros that they use in France? Is that
euros?
They use francs? Is that like that's? I was gonna say that seems like it's ancient. Yeah,
you could still in
that's
some
like
cases,
that doesn't feel right to me. But you could move to France or Germany or wherever the fuck, and then take your cryptocurrency out in that local currency and still be able to live your life there, even though your American dollar fell apart where we were from.
100%.
Yeah. And so that's an added value then to cryptocurrency,
and it becomes
at least theoretical.
100%. It becomes the mole. Like we remember in chemistry, the moles is the thing that allows you to go to every chemical, right? So they always be like, hey, turn the chemical into moles, and then you'll figure out what this chemical is, right? We won't get too deep.
I definitely didn't take chemistry, I guess.
Oh, shoot. They force you to.
Larry, you went to West Point. You went to college. You're step ahead of us.
They force everybody to take chemistry. But regardless,
moles.
It becomes the great communicator of currency. So just like Don said, like if shit goes here, you can find value, a store value that's tied to multiple different markets. Because right now, your Ethereum can literally go into the euro, and it can literally go into the yen in Japan.
It could go into anything, really.
Anything, right? Yeah. Well, those are the two that I saw this morning. So those are two that I know for a fact. Someone calls my bullshit, that I'm good.
It's okay. You're not a financial advisor.
It's just
so
whatever their conversion rate is.
Different.
And it's just whatever their conversion rate is at that time.
100%. And so
like whatever it's worth in their currency.
And again, I actively seek to avoid thinking about the international meltdown. But when I say a store value, it's going to be more expansive than just the store value in the US currency. And that's why I think this is such a powerful thing. Like again, I don't want to call it manipulation because that M word has such terrible connotations, but that drastic influctuation of cash, you're gonna see your crypto go up and you're gonna be like, wow, is this worth more? Or are you pegging it to something that's expanded? And that's why you need to think of crypto like I'm getting a corner of a market that's worth 1/8 of the currency. And once you think about it like that, it doesn't matter how much they pump in, because when you take out the coin, as long as America doesn't collapse, you're like, hey, I have this coin. They're like, oh, it was worth 100 yesterday, but now it's worth 500, right? So the store of value has already gone with you.
Right.
And so operating off of that essentially assumption, I guess, at this point, which an educated assumption, because that's the way history has proven the cryptos work at this point.
100%.
I think it's probably relatively inevitable at this point that we realize, as far as economics go, whether or not we continue to draw borders or not in the future is one thing or another. But as far as commerce goes, I think globalism is inevitable. Yep. The fact that we're trading, we've already been trading in currencies, international currencies, for decades at this point. Yep. I don't know why.
Right.
Crypto is essentially the step beyond. It's kind of the great equalizer at that point. The minute the U.S. economy drops out of the bottom, or just pick another country that has a large financial stake in anybody's debt, the minute that falls out the bottom, the minute the EU collapses and the euro isn't worth shit, there will always be a crypto market to come back to, due to the fact that no particular government is, it's not centralized around any particular government. It just exists in, the ether, if it will.
And we might be trading thousandths of a coin, but we'll still have some feasible something to be trading around.
Yeah, what's Bitcoin at right now? It's up
like $40,000 or something. I don't know.
$47,000+ for Bitcoin.
$47,129.03.
Do I own a Bitcoin? Fuck no, I don't. I own decimal points of Bitcoin.
Yeah, even when I bought $20 worth of Ethereum, it was like 0.000182 whatever.
Exactly.
A fraction of an Ethereum, which is, I don't give a fuck.
Which is fine. Because essentially we're all agreeing, when you buy into this particular cryptocurrency, you're agreeing to a set of rules.
Yeah.
Right.
To amount of how many people are buying into this system and how much of this commodity is there. There is a set amount, which you say that to any US dollar. There is no such thing as a set amount. We raised the goddamn debt ceiling to infinitum, within the last decade.
Yep.
I mean, there's nothing to stop us from ruining our own national currency, but there's nothing that could stop a cryptocurrency from surpassing that, not becoming that, but surpassing that on every level. It's the great unifier as far as currency goes.
Yeah, 100%. It's the mole.
As long as there's electricity.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
you're really stuck on that, aren't you? The mole.
Listen, I love chemistry. Like, you guys do what you want to.
I gotta Google this now. Like,
you are a nerd.
Chemistry mole.
I told you guys, like, I had no life.
MOLE? Is that
MOLE? Yeah. MOLE. You guys don't celebrate Mole Day? Listen, type in. It's March 14th. Type in, MOLE chemistry, and it'll give you. This is a big thing in chemistry. Listen,
I thought that Pi Day was March 14th.
A mole is the quantity of anything that has the same number of particles found in 12.000 grams of carbon 12. The number of particles is Avogadro's number, which is roughly 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd power.
Yeah, I was wrong. It's 6:02 on.
He's like, oh yeah,
6:02 on October 23rd. I'm sorry, everyone who heard that. I let everyone down. My
shit. So it's October 23rd.
October 23rd at 6:02.
Okay, 10 to the 23rd.
Yep, 100%.
At 6:02 o'clock.
What's going on here?
This is my new favorite day. Let's celebrate.
Listen, guys, I'm telling you. Okay, listen.
I read this out loud. I have no idea what it means.
we'll include this in the PowerPoint to you and your wives on why you should move to Tennessee. All right, you can get this constantly. This would be just normal hanging out for coffee.
I like this.
I'm a huge fan. It makes me feel way smarter than I really am.
Well, I just again though, like, Don, listen, listen. You should every week, because you love me, and I don't ask you for anything. Just listen. Bitcoin, sure. I don't love Bitcoin as a coin, right? So, but if you like Bitcoin, because it is the big B right now,
because it's the first in, best dressed.
100%, right? So that's fine. But Ethereum, 100%, right? Mm-hmm. Litecoin, love it, and you can do Bitcoin because it's fine. I love everyone. But take that last $5 and put it in Algorand. Yes.
Let me put it this way, Don.
I downloaded Coinbase Pro.
Good.
And I downloaded. Let's see. Let's find the apps for anybody who's watching still, or anybody who's watching this. I downloaded Coinbase Pro and the Algorand wallet, so that I can purchase Algo and then put it in the Algorand wallet.
Yeah. Now
Also,
I did the same thing. I just got to figure out how to transfer them.
Right. So, do you use Algorand wallet for all of your cryptos, or is that just for Algo?
So Algorand app I use for Algorand.
Okay, then what do you use as your wallet for the rest of your cryptos?
So I'm looking for this. Again, I'm new to this, right? Until like 2 weeks ago, I wasn't even using the Algorand. I was just holding cryptos as the original store value.
Okay.
And now when someone just dumped on me, it was just like, hey, you're going to get a better return on your investment in Algorand, which is one Algorand's worth more than $1. So now you're getting a better return on a better valued thing. Like now we're getting silly because you're going to get passive income from your investment. So now you're going to be making every 9 minutes, you're going to get a dividend of Algorand.
Yeah. So for the wallets, right? Because there are digital wallets that you can like have on your phone, but there are also physical ones, right? That are like little USBs. Yeah. That you can, I don't know, plug into shit, or like they show a code on there. I don't really know how.
Listen, we're here where you just went is.
Okay, so fuck a physical wallet, but you have another wallet outside of your Algorand wallet for the rest of your cryptos.
So I hold most of my cryptos in the exchange.
Oh, they just sit in there.
Yeah, so most of them sit there. Again, the wallet thing, I'm new to this.
Okay, so have you? Sorry, go ahead.
No, so I've just been buying on the exchange, and it sits there, and I don't know if I've been making an interest rate.
Okay,
I don't know.
So you haven't pulled any money out of the crypto market to spend it on it.
No. Well, no, I haven't. But okay, so I lied. So I did as a test. That's how I know I'm going to get it in 2 days.
As soon as I have enough for a Tesla truck, I'm going to pull it out and buy a Tesla truck.
And you have to like confirm your identity somehow through whatever app to pull out the money, right?
Yeah.
What did you have to do for that? Because that's where I got stuck with Kraken, that I confirmed my identity and then I never heard back. They're like,
for Uphold, for Coinbase, you're going to be fine. You can go in and out as you want to. Uphold, do it on your computer. It's going to, I promise you, like all the prompting. I don't know if it's immature app. I don't know if I'm losing. I don't know if I'm losing it. Uphold, I'm getting the best results just cranking it out on the computer. Okay. And then it'll let you continue on your phone. You'll take a picture of your license. You'll be confirmed, but do it there. Unfortunately, because again, right, like going to an app is hard. Mm-hmm. So and I'm just learning this too, because I work with a web developer who's just kind of explaining this, like these high level things that I don't get. But going to an app is hard, so it's not uncommon to lose our functionality. Word. So we could be dumb, we could be missing it, or it's just not there, right? Word. But do it on your computer. And listen, if you're not invested in Algorand at least $5, I swear I'm going to running jump kick. I'm going to running headbutt into your nuts.
So text me 1 week from today and ask me whether or not I bought Algorand.
Okay.
Because that's, I like to say, I get paid on Friday. So the next time that I'm going to buy crypto is going to be on Friday.
100%. So I'm going to text you every single day until Friday. 100%.
And I'm going to text you every day this week to show you my gains from Algorand.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, bro, guess where I'm at?
When you text me next week, we're going on vacation next week, me and the family. We're going for a weekend getaway. We're going to Wainuchi.
Show Dak some snow.
We got an Airbnb. It's like 2.5 hours southwest from here.
Okay, I can meet there. That's fine. We can be there.
Can't confirm.
So it's going to be fun. It's on a huge plot of land, like a bunch of trails and shit. So we're going to take the dog and the baby, and we're just going to go and just spend a weekend together.
Bro, he's not a baby anymore. We gotta graduate.
Is that a baby?
I know. We stay calling him a baby though. He's 2 years old. We stay calling him. That's how you end up 15, and your mom is like, "You'll always be my baby," because he's 2 years old, and I'm still calling him the fucking baby. Like we'll have him. Like, do you have a baby with you, or like, do you want me to take him? Or, yeah, no, all the time.
I got it.
I can't wait till he pushes back on that. I can't wait. It's the inevitability that's coming.
Tell him to go fuck himself. Yeah, you're my baby.
Oh shit! Hey, Don G. While Larry's laughing real quick, hey, are you in the? Do you feel like buying a shotgun or a rifle at some point in the next 3 months?
Oh god.
I don't know about that. Why?
Because applications for spring bear and spring turkey are in. So
Oh,
they're due at the end of the month. I got to figure out where I'm going to go hunt spring bear. But
yeah,
it's all right. One of these days, I'm going to bring you with me. That's all I'm saying.
Oh no, absolutely.
Thank you, my love.
Of course. What is that website?
Oh, this is Uphold, the website. It's like a wallet for crypto.
Is she getting in on Coinbase too? She's my Facebook friend.
You know, she's gonna have to watch the podcast afterwards to
Yeah.
make sure she understands everything.
I was
that's going
telling
on.
Jordan about this, and when we were going to go to Collins, she was going to listen in so that she could hear everything, because when she
Say
was
hi.
talking
Say
about,
hi to Larry real quick.
Hi, Larry. Hi, Don.
Hi.
Take care of the dogs.
When Jordan was talking about, she's starting her baking business and stuff, and so she's starting to put money aside to like start practicing saving for taxes and shit,
Yeah.
And so she is like, oh, well, where do I want to put it, and blah blah blah. She's like, oh, maybe I'll go and talk to like BECU's, our bank. She's like, about like another savings account. And then just last night I was like, wait, it's like you should just take that money and just put it in like a crypto market. I was like, because I said I've been hearing Larry talk about it. I was like, you're gonna get, that if your idea is even just to pay taxes on it, I said, in a year when you have to pay taxes on this money, you're going to have way more than you need, just in percentage returns. It's like, so if all you're really doing is storing it. And so it sounds like from everything you said here today, that might not be a bad idea. If all she's doing is putting money aside to save to pay taxes, then should she not just put it in crypto instead of a savings account and then at least make more money on it while it's sitting there?
From the theory, in my personal opinion. So again,
technically,
this is what I do. This is what I'm doing. I have no U.S. cash saved. So when I save for my taxes to pay my quarterlies, mine's in crypto.
So you're going to pull it out of crypto to pay your quarterly taxes.
100%. What she needs to be prepared for, and what I'm prepared for in this inevitability, is one, the market could be down when she pays, right? So
it could, yes. But the idea,
it's going to go up. Listen, I just have to say, she has to be cognizant, but I'm not investing in anything I think it's going to go down, right? That'd be silly of me. Number two is when she takes it out, she's going to create a taxable event. So she's going to have to pay more on taxes because she made money.
Okay.
So be prepared.
Even if she's only
trying to convince me
out
that taxes and theft.
Right. Even if she's only pulling out the money that she's going to use to pay her taxes, right? Because what I'm saying is, like, for whatever sales she's doing, she's taking out X percentage and putting that aside to pay her taxes, right? And so this in a perfect world, the money that she's pulling out will be exactly, or that she's putting in there will be exactly what she needs to pull out to pay her taxes.
So
whatever she's made in profits will stay in there, right? So she's still going to pay the taxes on that if she's only pulling out what she
ideally,
because that's what you were talking about earlier, right?
Ideally, but what they say is, right, so you're going to pull out coins, right? So this is so she'll put 10 coins in, right? And then the coin value is going to go up. So she may put 10 coins in, right?
Right, because
but the coin, so you put
into coins.
100%. So she puts in 10 coins worth $1, right? And then she's like, okay, I need to take out 8 coins now because that's what it's worth. But they're going to say, okay, well, that coin was worth $1, but now that coin's worth $1.50. So you're going to pay taxes on that 50%, 50 cents.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's what she needs to be cognizant of. Because, like, see, you're so tied to the dollar, which is, it's okay. You're American. But like you're not going to pull out the same amount. Like my Algorand that I put in when it was like 50 cents, now I'm pulling those out at $2, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or like, okay, that's outlandish. Like $1.50, but I hope it's going to be $40. Right. But that's what it's going to be. But the thing that she could look at is, again, since that will be a store value, what she's going to look at is, okay, I put it in and now I have 10 coins, but I only needed 8 coins to pay my taxes. So those 2 coins that are still in there, those aren't going to be taxed, and those continue to make money. Because again, you're making 7% as opposed to 1%.
Right. And that's
So another way of thinking.
So even if you got to pull out a little bit extra, you still got leftovers that's still making more money.
Yes.
Like another way to think about it could be, say, like, instead of dollar value based off of coin value, it could be like, depending on what coin, whatever you're invested in, for the dollar amount to equal the coin, you'll have a specific conversion ratio, like a conversion factor.
Okay.
Like today I bought a Bitcoin and $1 equals X% of a Bitcoin or 0.00000 whatever the fuck of a Bitcoin versus, so that conversion rate's going to be 0.0004 or whatever it is. And tomorrow that conversion might be 0.0003,
Nope,
and
100%.
it's the same. It's no different than investing in any other international currency anyways. I mean, if I was to invest a bunch of US dollars into the yen, and then I want to sit on it for a year thinking that the yen is going to become worth more in US dollars in 10 years or a year from now. And then I can pull it out, convert it back to US dollars, pay whatever fees it is, and then I'll actually have made more money.
Yeah, 100%, and that's the best way to do it. So that again, people get nervous, and I get it because it's taxes, and I got it. But I can only tell you what I'm doing if she wants to do that. But again, tell her just like, hey, no pressure. You can get your savings account at 1% and like be great, and then like you'll get 2%, and they'll pretend like they fucking change the world for you.
Yeah. Or I'll go and get
7 fucking percent, and that's not even including the increase of value.
7 fucking percent.
Especially during a period like this, where essentially like the US dollar is so volatile, it's so close to dropping off of an edge that the Fed has lowered instance rates to like near nothing,
100%.
right? So that way, when you do put money into a savings account, why would you do that? It's just basically just to sit there and hold its current value,
right?
Versus put it into something. It used to be like you put in a savings account, you're going to make 1 to 3%, which was, that's free money.
100%.
That's 1 to 3% free money versus putting in 6%, 7%. That's twice
more
as much
free money.
free money.
100, and I just can't express it enough. And if you don't use it, like I can't. It's just and that's just the interest. We haven't even counted the natural cruise up it's going to take from the general influx of cash.
Right.
And like I'm telling you, it'll matter. Listen, we don't have to take up the whole tax time. Listen, I love taxes, but I tell Jordan. Taxes. Listen, you ask her. What did Larry tell you about a tax person? And she'll be like, "What's good having a tax person if you never call? What's good having a tax person on call if you never call your tax person?" It's my favorite phrase in the entire world. So yeah, we can talk about
doing his job.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm here for. But if you guys,
no, and I just feel like those questions are, especially for somebody who like Sid was in here earlier, Kathy's obviously talking about crypto. So people are going to be getting into crypto, and these are things that they're going to need to know. And if they don't have a regular tax person, if they do their taxes on TurboTax, or if they go to H&R Block once a year and have them do it, then they don't even have anybody that they can ask these questions to.
No,
so I feel like this is totally valuable, all this information for not only me because I don't actually know, but for anybody else who's here who's trying to get this information, because that's why you're here, No,
100%. And that's why I'm going to start a podcast under your guys' label, pay you guys royalty rights. Because again, we have the same vein where we just want to deliver information in a digestible way.
Can I be a guest, Larry?
Yes, 100% easily. This is I can do. We can talk for hours, which is dangerous because like no one likes a 12-hour podcast. But I like talking to you guys. We have the same mission statement, and that's why like I love coming on here. It's awesome. Like you're always like, can you do it? And I always have to pretend like I'm doing something instead. Like I really clear my entire schedule.
But bro, I know you're active duty Army. I know what your schedule is.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like I got a ton to do at work today, and if I'm working that hard, it means something.
Wait till you get in the private sector, asshole. Then you realize. I miss those days.
Force someone else to do it for me.
I'm telling you. So it's a good time. So yes, like that's for her. Like just be like, hey, like this is what Larry's doing with his life, and she wants my purse. I can send her my purse. That's wallet.
Yeah.
That's like the cool thing. People say purse now because
purse. Word. Well, we're all in pretty consistent communication. So I feel that we should start the three of us need a little group chat. The three of us.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Signal group chat.
Yeah.
Ooh,
is Larry on the Signal? What is going on here? I don't
yeah, Larry's on Signal.
All right. Me and Larry got to communicate via Facebook, which fuck Facebook, but
listen,
no, y'all look crazy.
I like Mark Zuckerberg sitting in on a conversation. I like the bird on my shoulder.
We want to know. We're in his ear just to let him know, like it may help him like lose like an hour of sleep at night. Like, yeah, Zuck, we're talking about you. We're gonna bring you down.
Our group?
What do you want? The Freedom Fighters, the Crypto Crusaders.
Crypto Crusaders, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, that's you said it. I can't not.
Listen,
for fuck's sakes.
this I'm telling you, like and that's what that's why that's why I'm so excited about this.
Done and done.
Done and done.
Oh yeah, I literally just got the notification. I'm in. And but yeah, because I think this is gonna happen to people. Like in the same way you guys talk about current events, and everyone's like, why would you spend this much time? Why do you research it? Because you guys feel like gun rights, like the conversation is coming, right? I think we'd agree they're happening underground, but you're like, I need to arm myself with the knowledge to defend my right to own a gun. Because the reasons to own a gun. Like you guys aren't trying to go murder anyone. You guys are literally trying to arm your home, which you guys know matters. So you guys literally philosophically need to develop your arguments to protect that right. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like on the other side, like this is what people are doing with their money when they're not talking to you about it. Mm-hmm. And Elon Musk, again, because he's so loud and I love him for it, like he showed you that he's that. But like again, Elon Musk wasn't the first one to do it. And he may have been, but like he's not the only one. I 100% know that there are balance sheets and ARK Investments, which is a massive ETF, which is just a massive electronic index fund. They just started their crypto fund, which means that like now it's mainstream and on Wall Street. And so I'm just like why aren't we taking hours and years to tell people this? Like I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face because like again, like if Elon Musk is moving into it, like I think we're fair. I think.
Well, and there was that story a few weeks ago about J.P. Morgan moving a X amount of dollars into the crypto market.
Right.
Unspecifically, obviously, but I mean, let's take this to its logical end here. I mean, at the end of the day, the nationally tied currencies will disappear. I mean, it may not be in our lifetime. It might be, especially given the rate of exponential change, but like, it's going to happen. Period. Full stop.
Right. Eventually.
U.S. dollar compared to the Chinese yen? No. Chinese.
I forgot
whatever the fuck it is.
Yuan.
Is it yuan?
I think so, yeah.
Oh my god. Yo, okay.
No,
on to Wuhan.
No, I mean yen is Japanese, right? So I think so I think that in China
I'm excited
yuan.
You knew that.
AKA it's the yuan. Y-O-A. Wait, where is it? The Y-U-A-N, the yuan.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Okay, yuan. I'm fucking on. Jesus.
Yeah,
oh my god.
You're going to be part of the $1 US currently 6.39 Chinese Yuan and equivalent to 0.0000208 Bitcoin. Thank you. In other words, the point I'm trying to drive at here is that national currencies will eventually go away, period.
Yep.
Why would you not get in the market now? That's what I don't understand. I don't understand.
Especially
if this is the inevitable end, right? What are we doing here? If we're going to become a global society at some point, whether or not, like again, we choose to remove the lines between nations, that's never going to go away. But as far as commerce is concerned, in finances, we're already so integral. The only reason the U.S. isn't defaulting on every single loan that we have now is because the entire world economy is tied to the U.S. dollar in some way or another.
And
we are the new gold. The U.S. dollar is the new gold, right? So it can't just disappear overnight, but one day it will.
Right.
And we'll need something else. And as more and more people migrate from a fiat currency like the Japanese yen or the British pound sterling or the US dollar and move into a crypto market of some kind, there will be no need for these fiat currencies.
Yeah.
100%. And that's why, and everyone's just like, well, that's so far away. And I'm just like, well, in the meantime, it's a store of value. Like in the short term.
Yeah. In the meantime.
Sense.
Yep. And in the short term. I think short term is the key there.
Yeah. And I think, again, this is what I help people with, right? Because I think people think short term is like, oh, what am I doing tomorrow? And I'm always just like, short term is really like 30 years, right? Like on the,
yeah.
Like in the way I see things, like you can ask my wife. I tell her
by the time I pay off my fucking house.
Yeah.
And that's what I push back on all of it, right? I told my wife since I was 26 that my life starts when I'm 40. Like I'm literally like preparing to be 40. And that's the one thing I think about. And that's why I'm just like, this makes sense.
Than the rest of us.
I literally am flabbergasted. Like oh gosh, I'm sorry. Like I get so excited for this stuff. But like I know I kind of nerded out on this. I hope I wasn't too aggressive, but like
hard no.
It's gonna matter. It's gonna matter in such a big
Not
way.
as aggressive as Don's hair, for fuck's sakes, buddy.
Let me line you up. Let me get you right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he has the beanie on. He can't see. He's squinting at the screen.
Like I said, if it wasn't for our conversations, let's just say I'd be about $50 poorer than I am today, even though I'm down in the market already.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad situation to be. My portfolio is less than $1,000 when it comes to the crypto market. A $50 gain one day with an $1,000 investment is a pretty good goddamn percentage.
It's a great day, and it's like even when you're down, you're it's not eating at your principal.
No,
I'm up 59 cents.
Yo, and see, this is the thing for you, Don,
buddy,
that I think is going to unlock you.
You like that?
You need to tie everything into a percentage.
Yeah.
Yes. Because like learn percentage conversions now, because 100%. It's going to make you feel amazing about life.
You won't even stress, like, because like when I was day trading, it was like 2% gain, and then on my first one it was like $102. I was like, fuck, that sucks. And I thought about it. There's 240 trading days in a year. There's nothing about everything, right? If you get a 2% gain on 80 of those days, so I need to be 1/3 of getting a 2% gain, right? 1/3 gets you into the Hall of Fame in Bezos. So I was like, that's good enough for me. If you get a 2% gain on 1/3 of the days, you will quadruple your money.
That's funny.
And so, listen, I'm telling you, because you go from 100 to 400 to 1,600 to 6,400 to $25,600.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I'm here for it.
I like math, and I like the way the British people say math, which is just plural math.
Or catsup. I like catsup personally.
Catsup.
Big catsup.
Okay, guy. Don, did you buy fucking Sir Kensington ketchup yet? Or
fuck no, you
God
weirdo.
Damn it. We talked about this, for fuck's sakes.
You know,
Larry, what kind of ketchup do you buy?
Sir Kensington.
Do you buy Heinz? Do you support John Kerry?
Is that his wife? Oh,
that's his
wife. Oh,
the ketchup connoisseur. But that's not why I bought Sir Kensington's, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
My current Albertsons Safeway. This was back during like my keto days and shit. When I was looking for anything that wasn't high fructose corn syrup and all that good shit. And Sir Kensington's ketchup was one of those that had like a little bit of sugar in it, but on the label it said fucking sugar, not high fructose, whatever the hell. And so I bought it, and now I haven't been able to get back to anything else. I can't even have Heinz ketchup anymore. So get on that Sir Kensington train. I had a hot dog with it the other day, and it's fantastic. Y'all need to be buying that Sir Kensington's.
Sir Kensington's.
Yeah,
I'm looking it up right now.
Larry's gonna order some on Amazon. It'll be here in 2 days.
Yeah, I'm starting thinking that it might actually be some kind of a Safeway brand, to be honest. I'm not totally sure.
I honestly don't know.
But
it's got like a little Monopoly man as like the logo. He's pretty smart. He's got a monocle.
Sir Kensington?
Yeah.
Why is this $50? Oh.
Whoa, that's a big bottle.
It's got to be a box of Sir Kensingtons.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
A crate.
I'm going to be like Larry and Sir Kensington's. Oh, hey. Oh, and they make mayo. That's right. Stone ground mustard. $5.49 is what I'm seeing for the Sir.
Yeah, that's fair. Because mine was 12 for 50, so that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah,
we're doing the math on that one. We're good. All right. So before we get any further off track, because I mean we said our topics at the beginning, but then again, this is the Salt the Street podcast, so you know what you're getting. Let's talk about GameStop before we run out of too much time here.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I thought there was a dog running down the road, and there was a kid face first on a sled. And because I was like doing this, I thought it was a dog, and it was really a kid.
Oh, that's good.
Probably like 10, just face first down the road.
Oh, buddy.
That's classic. We don't want to get too far off track. Yeah. We don't want to get too far off track. There's a dog running down. That was great. That was pretty fucking good.
Dog. Actually, no, that's a child.
I'm so sorry, Colin.
So this is actually why you need to start watching Congo right now. I've decided, Donovan, I didn't
terrible
inform you.
Co-host.
I did not inform anybody of this, right?
Yeah.
But due to so I took a book or a page out of Donovan's book here, and I've decided that it's okay for me to watch a film not in one sitting, right? So I've, when I get 30 minutes plus, I'll sit down and watch part of a movie. And
I'm sorry. I couldn't do it. Go ahead. You're good.
Go ahead. No. Are you mortally offended by this proposition?
I can't imagine not watching an entire movie in a sitting.
That's what I used to think.
Okay, go ahead. Right? I'm listening. Go ahead.
How many movies do you watch on a regular basis? Less than normal? Less than you used to.
Okay, that's fair because I watch The Office. Go ahead. I'm listening. I watch The Office on repeat religiously.
At one point in my life, I realized that the realistic probability of me having an uninterrupted 2 to 3 hour window to partake of a good film was unrealistic. And so I decided that I was going to get on board Donovan's train and just watch a movie when I could. Otherwise, all I would be left with was shows.
Yeah.
So I decided to start watching these movies. And I decided to pick a theme. And I've been watching Michael Crichton books that were made into films. Michael Crichton wrote Jurassic Park. He wrote Sphere. He wrote.
Yep.
Yes. Like he's a big, I think 80s author, but mostly 90s films. And so the other day I watched Congo. I think it was last weekend. I can't remember. I was probably texting
you. Ever
seen
this,
pretty
Larry?
drunk and it was amazing.
Congo? No.
Yeah, Congo.
Me
Bruce
either.
Campbell. You know who Bruce Campbell is?
No.
Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Evil Dead.
This
He's
is
in that
my
movie for
boomstick.
about the first 15 minutes before he gets killed.
Oh no.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, I know Bruce Campbell. Go ahead.
But the Nip Tuck, you remember Nip Tuck?
Yep.
So the less douchey of the two doctors in Nip Tuck, the family man, he's in Congo. So I watched Congo and it's a terrible movie, but it's
Nip Tuck is like
phenomenal.
one of my favorite shows ever.
Nip Tuck was I was obsessed with that
really?
show for a few
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm the wrong one here. Okay, I'm wrong. Go ahead. It's my
no,
just because we agree doesn't mean you're wrong.
Listen, I'm the wrong one here. I can eat it. I can stand up and take taste of music.
Oh, so I started watching these movies that were based off of Michael Crichton's books.
Yeah.
And I watched Congo twice last week. It's pretty great. And I watched The 13th Warrior, starring Antonio Banderas, which is based off of another Michael Crichton book called The Eaters of the Dead, which I had no idea was a Michael Crichton book until now. But I'm going to keep watching these movies like Sphere. Did you ever watch Sphere?
No, I haven't seen any of these except.
For fuck's sake, Larry!
Park.
Where were you in the '90s? Oh, playing football and protecting our country. I forgot about that.
I was just a fucking idiot.
He's like 4 years older than me.
I'm pretty sure he's probably younger than me.
He's like right in between you and I.
Yeah.
So Sphere is got. I got to pull it up here. I stand by this thing where if there's a day that goes by where I don't go to imdb.com, something's wrong with my life. But it's got like Samuel L. Jackson in it. Who else is in it? Another just a massive star-studded cast. Including Sharon Stone, Dustin Hoffman, Peter Coyote, however you pronounce his name, Liv Schreiber, who happens to be the brother-in-law of one of the doctors my wife works with. He's a great dude. Queen Latifah's in that as well, by the way.
This is called Sphere? Okay, what is this about?
Oh my God. All right. Larry, have you never heard of this movie called Sphere?
No, I'm like, how have I never...
You're saying all these people that were in this, I had no idea.
Okay, 1998, a magical year in film.
I was 4 years old.
A spaceship is discovered under 300 years worth of coral growth at the bottom of the ocean. And this scientific team made up of a group of individuals that Dustin Hoffman's character decides to put down in some government report. If aliens were to have been discovered on Earth, like you need to contact this scientist, this mathematician, this person, this person, this person. They just put their names in there because they gave them like $50,000 to write up a report about what would you do if aliens showed up. And so all these people, aliens finally showed up. And so the government calls and all these people get thrown together on a ship and they get dived down to the bottom of the Pacific Ocean to go check out this alien sphere. And then fuckery happens.
Alien sphere. Okay.
Yeah, and then fuckery
ensues.
Dude, and it is a great film. It's a great book, all this stuff. But I've started this train, and I'm trying to remember like where I was going with this whole Michael Crichton film situation. But like I've been watching all these movies.
You were breaking up in parts.
Yeah, you were saying that I need to.
But
watch
I started to reach this goal of being able to watch all these Michael Crichton book movies. I started to split them up into like half-hour to an hour chunks so that I could actually watch them. So hurry up and go watch those fucking movies, boys.
Listen, there's no way.
It's so worth it.
I'm gonna watch Sphere. Sphere was the one that you talked about. I was like, who are all these good people I know in this movie? But
dude, Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton book.
All right.
Lost World, Michael Crichton book. Timeline. Don't watch that movie, but it's a great book.
I was about to say, that's like I do love time movies because those mess with me a little bit. Those mess with me.
Let's just say there's probably about a 60-40 split to like good movies versus bad movies on the Michael Crichton train. But I didn't realize there was that many of his movies that were or books that were made into movies. Half of them just happen to be some of my favorites of all time. But don't be afraid of that half-hour to an hour chunk, bro. Just if you don't have the time, because otherwise you won't watch another movie your whole life.
Well, that's fair. I like to go to the movie theater though.
Oh, that's never going to happen again. We all know that. Come on now. You're going to have to wear 3-4 fucking masks if you want to.
Not here, actually.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, can go to movies right now.
Yeah, I could. We've been to movies. Like you go there and you have to wear your mask in, and then it's like eating at a restaurant. You just take it off and you're just watching a movie.
No shit.
Yeah.
Go to the movie theater right now.
No, 100%. Like I was no bullshit because like I work on Monday through Saturday, so Sundays are like my day off. So I was like, should I go see a movie? I literally in my head was like, should I just go see a movie?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you definitely should now. If you can go see a movie, you're one of the few Americans that can.
Listen, I think again, I know you guys hate Florida. Hear me out. We can meet in Tennessee.
I know a way to bring this all together, by the way.
Go ahead.
You're gonna go to an AMC movie theater because AMC was one of those stocks that were like wrapped into the whole GameStop.
To the moon.
Done.
Yes.
I win.
That's hilarious. Expert, Colin.
Expert.
Yes.
Transitioner.
Yeah, I mean, some might call that I'm not going to finish that sentence.
Stop it.
I'm not touching that.
Anyways, GameStop, bro.
You won't convince me.
So, Donovan, do you feel comfortable describing what happened with GameStop? Do you want me to do it? Or do you want to get a third-party Larry Dixon perspective on what happened with GameStop?
Yeah, do you want to break it down there, or do you want us to?
No pressure.
Yeah, I can try. I'm not super great at it. So essentially, there was like a massive shorting of the GameStop stock, right? AMC, BlackBerry, for some reason. Yeah. There's like 6 of them, right? And what a short is when you think the market's going to go down. So you borrow somebody's stock, and then you sell it. And then when the stock goes down, you rebuy it, and then you return what you sold to the other person. That is the easiest way. You pocket the difference, right? So Don has 1 share of Colin Incorporated stock. I think Colin, 100%, I think Colin's going to come out and he's going to say that he watches Sphere, and everybody's like, I'm selling that stock. So I'm going to borrow that stock from Don for $10.
Goddamn great movie.
100%. And then it goes down. I borrowed it for $10. And the stock goes down to $6. Or I sold the stock. The stock goes down to $6. I buy it again at $6. And I give what I took from Don back to him. But I have $4 in the difference.
Yeah.
And so what happened?
You gave back the stock, which was worth $6.
Yeah, I gave back the stock. And Don doesn't care because like, I sell my stock because I think it's a long-term win. And so what happened was there's a ton of shorts, billions of dollars worth of shorts. And what made it worse is it was bought, the stock was bought, or I guess what's it called, collateral against using margin. What margin means that once you have X amount of dollars in your trading bank, right, your brokerage, they'll let you borrow more money to leverage a bigger gain, right? So they borrowed money, and then they used that borrowed money to borrow the stock. And then instead of it going down, these people on Wall Street Bets got wind of it and said, hey, let's fuck them, right? And so they did what's called a short squeeze. And so if you get if you ever see Wall Street, the money never sleeps, right? There's a short squeeze that, or that he got shorted. But the short squeeze is when you see someone short and then you force the stock up. And so they're like, everyone just buy it. And then the stock took off. It went up. And what happens if you don't cover the short? So I borrowed it from Don and I thought it would go down, but it went up to $15. Well, I don't have the stock for Don. So now not only do I have to lose my $10, I have to use the extra $5 to buy the stock to give to Don. And so that got amplified to billions and billions of dollars. And they almost collapsed. They got bailed out because, cronyism. But they collapsed an actual hedge fund company to the tune of $50 billion.
And thankfully,
because the
most
stock
of those
had
hedge
been,
funds.
You said it had been overshorted, but it had been shorted to 140%. GameStop had been shorted 140%.
Jesus.
So not only its value, but almost another half of it, which is, I mean, shouldn't be allowed to happen. There's no way in the feasible world that should be able to happen.
Yeah, you're just making up money at that point.
Yes. You are literally, I don't remember who I was listening to, but it might have been The Hill or someone, but they were saying like, not only were they trying to kill GameStop, they were trying to hold its head in the dirt while they did it, like just really fucking, it's crazy.
Which is the way most of those hedge funds that short sell companies work, right? They find a dying company and then try to put it out of its misery and make a profit off of it.
They slaughter it.
Right. But the problem here, especially because GameStop is GameStop, right? And that kind of became the poster child of this short squeeze.
Yeah.
The problem with GameStop is that it was probably legitimately overvalued, right? And the purpose of these short sellers in these hedge funds is to essentially correct market to correct overcorrections in the market, right? To find stocks that are worth more than the company actually is.
100%.
And with a company like GameStop, if you are not a millennial or generation after, like you don't understand what GameStop truly is.
No.
Right. GameStop is just a place that you go to buy and it used to be you buy and sell games, and then it became GameStop has a lot of problems. We'll just say that. As a company, it has a lot of problems.
Fucked.
Well,
100%.
the problem is if you thought getting into the used video game market was a good decision, you deserve to lose all your money. Because once you play a game, it's not worth playing anymore over half the time. But GameStop has other value to it. And the problem is here, a bunch of these hedge funds decided to short sell this thing by 140%, not realizing that, for one, the CEO of GameStop had just turned over and has been looking at how to completely rearrange the entire business model so that it becomes something that can make a profit again. It could become a place that's not about buying and selling video games, but like has that in the background, but sells merch, sells accessories, blah, 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 blah. They become a profitable business again.
And the big catalyst to the game was the CEO of Chewy, or somebody on the board of members or CEO. Yes. He came over there and he was like, we can make this a more profitable company. He said, I'm going to rearrange it. And that's why it went up. And then with its financials, and I guess it's arising, the Wall Street is like, hey, this is not that good. It's overinflated. Let's short it. So by hedge fund measures, it did the right thing. It just, again, right? Like the short was a good short, but again, they chose the wrong stock. It was
the short was a good short if this was 1995. That's the deal. The short was a good short if the current calculus of modern day gaming and what people encompass, what millennials and Generation Z think of GameStop as. The problem is these hedge fund guys that shorted GameStop had no idea what it could be. GameStop has always been, like from its inception, has been just a dinosaur egg that's been waiting to hatch and turn into this, something new. It was I don't know, it's like a level 1 Pokemon. It hasn't evolved yet, bro. GameStop could be so much more than it currently is. But realistic, I know it sounds hilarious, right? Because it is what it is. I'm trying to find a good analogy here. But the problem is the people at the hedge funds don't understand. They don't comprehend what GameStop truly is and what it was. And its ties to people that are on Reddit and places like Wall Street Bets.
100%.
Right?
And they just got caught out. And in a way, you never feel bad for billionaires. I'll never do it. But they made this up. But like, again, they chose something with, I think, Stranger Things on Netflix was so big because of the nostalgia that people felt, especially from the 80s. And I feel like that was like the millennials nostalgia. Like we all hated GameStop. We hated to go there, but it was our thing to hate, not your thing to kill. So
yeah. And let's put it this way. If it was our thing to hate, it would be like Blockbuster. Yeah. It wouldn't be around anymore if we didn't fucking want it. The problem was that the consumer base had changed what its desired means was towards GameStop. Like what GameStop was to the consumer. Nowadays, I go there to pick up like merch and cool. Where do you think you got your Christmas presents from, Donovan? From GameStop, because they sell that kind of like cool shit.
Yeah,
I don't go there to pick up a video game. I go online. I go on Steam, whatever it is.
Yeah,
but
I easily.
A hedge fund investor does not understand what GameStop is, and so they short the shit by 140%, and the populace that happens to live on Reddit decides we're going to call your bet, asshole, and we're going to make you lose a bunch of money.
Yeah, a lot of my friends made a lot of money on that.
So because we were stopping a little bit short of the issue, right? Is the bigger issue arose after the short squeeze happened, which the hedge funds that shorted GameStop started to have to, like Larry said, are losing money, right? Billions and billions of dollars. You have the head of the NASDAQ that goes on MSNBC to start talking about, we need regulation because there's, shit that's going on here and people are going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get left holding the bag. Robinhood and other apps stop people from trading their stocks. They can only sell their stocks. They can't buy anymore. They can't do, anything like that. You can only sell it. In some cases, people's stocks were sold for them and they were just given chunks of money at whatever the stock was valued at that current time. Whereas if you were in a hedge fund, you could still buy the stock. If you were there on the market, you could still buy the stock. But these apps that are, what are they called? Retail traders, right? People who are just regular people like maybe Colin or I or Larry that are just, have regular jobs. But with the rest of our money, some of the rest of our money were buying stock.
We're not on the floor of Wall Street.
100%.
Those people were stopped from purchasing any more stock. But if you were there on the exchange or if you were part of a hedge fund, then you could purchase more stock and try and get a better position.
I feel like we might have jumped ahead here. So I just want to backtrack real quick and then we'll circle back to where we are.
Okay.
Part of the reason why like all these hedge funds were losing money, right, is because once those people realized that there was a group of hedge funds or a hedge fund that was short selling this GameStop stock as much as they were, a group of private individuals noticed that and decided to start buying into the company, which artificially inflated the stock price. So the stock price was probably slightly overrated because it was at like 18, 20 bucks per share, something like that, and over the past few years, it was rolling around 10, 12, 13, 15, something like that. So they wanted to short sell it, make 25%, maybe. Make 15%. Who knows what it was? But then as soon as you had all of this massive amount of individual buy-ins, that indicates to the stock market the stock is worth a shit ton more than it actually is, which sends the price skyrocketing.
Or to the moon.
Then in turn, like Larry explained, and then Don, you talked about all these hedge funds guys, all of those stocks that they had borrowed at $18 a share were now they had to go back and buy at $350 per share.
It got up to over $400 at one point.
Yes,
these shares were worth. The highest number
I personally saw was money.
The highest number I personally saw was 420, and it's because it was at 420. So there's all these people that are screenshotting it and posting it and shit. And it
went above 500.
So there you go.
It went above 5?
Above 5. So that was just I'm not tapped into the game. So I was just seeing, just regular people that are tapped into politics. So they're kind of tapped into the financial game. So just as it gets higher, Yeah, so the highest number,
As
like
the
I
reporting
personally
goes,
saw
man.
was 420
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But over 5, yeah. So if you shorted it at 18 and now it's worth over $500, you owe that difference now. You have to, yeah.
You know, 400
and if you
some
and
dollars.
if you bought thousands of dollars worth of that stock at the time, or tens of thousands of dollars worth of that stock at the
Or
time,
millions.
yes. So you can see where people start to get upset.
Mhm.
Who fuck them because they're fucking hedge fund managers.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, then we have people that are the head of the NASDAQ that are stepping in, calling for regulation. We saw Zeke send me a video that I meant to fucking send to Larry, that I sent to Colin. That was of Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, who was on, I think,
He's a
it was
fucking shill
CNN
these
that he
days.
was on this time, but Zeke said that he went on essentially every other mainstream media and was defending why the regulators had come in and did what they did, and they're saying, oh, they did it because Robinhood is, potentially liable if somebody loses their house or something, and they come back and sue Robinhood and blah blah, which is all well and good. That's fine, that's your justification, but that doesn't mean that it is right or in any way just or American at its core to tell people when they can or cannot spend their money or use the market, when your whole thing has been freeing the market and regulating it and democratizing, investing so that people can do whatever they want. Yep. For you to then usurp that power and become an authoritarian in something that you have said you are democratizing is not only counter to what your core values and what you started as a company, but like I said, the founding ideals of America, that you're then going to hinder free trade because you have backdoor deals to sell data to the hedge funds that are pissed off that you're letting people sell shit or buy shit.
100%.
Yeah.
And they built it on it. Like they built their business from the ground up, being like, hey, like we are getting to the everyday consumer to give them a chance, right?
Yes.
The reason they called it Robinhood.
Yeah,
right. Because we want to be able to quote unquote rob from the rich and give to the poor.
100%.
Allowing the everyday person to get into the market without some kind of $50 per trade fee from whatever investment firm you have a brokerage in or something like that. It allowed people to buy and sell stocks for $0. And that Robinhood was making money on the back end because they were selling your trading data to the hedge funds, which would then short sell whatever it is that was going out of style or vice versa. Yeah. I mean, Robinhood, they couldn't have picked a more perfect title for their company than Robinhood. Because as soon as the curtain came up and we realized who the fuck they were, they became the sheriff of Nottingham. It is so, the analogy was so crystal clear and so perfect.
Yep. And it's just, it was frustrating when everything came out, it felt like they were lying to us. And I don't like when people try to make you feel dumb in a situation. Cause again, right. Things that people, for example, when my friend Tyrone, he's a nuclear medicines officer in the military, whenever he talks about something that I don't get, I don't feel bad about it. Right. And he doesn't make me feel dumb to show me that I don't quote unquote understand something. Right. And I don't feel wrong in the interaction, but every time someone would say, hey, you don't understand, right? They had to make me feel worse and elevate the situation. And every time they elevated, talked about it didn't feel right. So I'm at the end of the day, this isn't, it doesn't feel good that you get to go. It's a completely different thing. It's hey, this is getting out of control. Let's stop for everybody. Right. But when Robinhood is controlling the airway, and then now the person has ties to the bank that bailed out Melvin Capital, I'm just hold on here. This doesn't feel right? And then when your only explanation is no, people are too dumb to understand what's going on. So you get more power and total control because we're too dumb to understand. That makes no sense. Right. But it's your money that you're worried about, right? They're oh, well, we couldn't afford it. We don't want to put the money up. So say you couldn't afford the trade. Say it's your app. Say we should all leave. Not that we're too dumb to understand what's going on. And that was what was frustrating.
Yeah, because in the real. The real nitty gritty type stuff. If there was you got an app like Robinhood that allows people to trade freely, right? That they need to hold X amount of liquid capital to be able to make sure that the trades that people perform on their platform can be backed up. Otherwise, what do they do? You're telling somebody they can make some money that you can't back up.
It's like if you're a bookie and you don't have enough cash on hand.
That's exactly what it is.
Is.
That's why so many people make the tie between participating and being active in the trading market to casinos.
Yep.
Right.
It's that that same kind of like gambling thing, except it's actual.
That was the biggest thing you heard on mainstream media over several days. They're talking about this is a casino. Someone's going to be left holding the bag. That's what you kept hearing. Someone's going to be left holding the bag, holding the bag. All these people, and no one there making the more than obvious point that nobody was forced to buy stocks.
Yep.
Anybody who went on and bought a stock knew how much they paid for it. Whether or not they knew how much GameStop was really worth at the time, if you are an American or a person who's lived in this country for the last 10 years, you know what fucking GameStop is.
No,
you know what it is. Even if you've never bought a video game, you know what a GameStop is. You've seen 4 of them in your town close in the last 4 years. You know that it's probably not a very good investment. But if you then decide to buy it at $400 when you know that you don't have any more in your town, I don't have that much money, but you might deserve to lose your $400, or maybe you just didn't spend it very wisely if you knew that the fucking stores were closing and you bought it at $400 anyway.
Thank you.
The people who are doing it, who are buying it at $400, are either stupid or they're doing it for Reddit to make a fucking point and to rob money from the hedge funds and to willingly lose money that they paid in. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of people that I think bought into that exact mentality you just said there, Jonathan. Like, I just got my crumbs from the U.S. government. How am I going to use this? I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to put it into fucking GameStop and tell the goddamn Wall Street hedge fund managers they can go fuck themselves.
Yep.
I don't care if I lose it because
that's what I was.
Come easy comb, baby.
Lost, I won't say a lot of money. Lost enough money, it hurt. But I did it for the same reason. I was like, yo, run the motherfucker up, right? Like, because again, that's what it came down to for me. But like 100%. Like, I don't like, and we do it all the time. And it's again, it comes back to the coronavirus. I don't like how it doesn't feel like I'm getting the full conversation. And then when I try to talk about it, I'm dumb, right? And then it's like, you don't understand the scope. And I'm just like, okay, right. But like, the data doesn't support, and like you don't specifically get it, and that's what frustrates me. And I'm like, I'm not anti-corona guy. I'm not. It's a hoax guy, but I'm like, hey, we're not having an entire full conversation guy, and like that's what frustrates me is that like anytime we get there, it's like an automatic roadblock, and it drives me.
Well, I think one of the most offensive things about that, right, about all of these people on mainstream media, on the investing market, anybody telling you that you don't know better, is that they would then say when they're trying to break down shorting, in 60 seconds so they can sell it and then move on, they're saying, what we're talking about if you've seen The Big Short. So you're telling me I really, to understand the essence of what's going on, I really only have to have watched one movie that's made a fuckload of money. But then in the same breath, you're telling me, but also you don't really understand what's happening, so we can't let you freely trade in what's going on. Mm-hmm. But you just told me I understand because I watched a fucking movie with Mike Scott in it. That's what you're saying to me, right? Yes. But I don't understand. Yep. It is more offensive than normal.
It's duplicitous, and that's what it feels like. And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't feel good, right? Because again, it's just like the rules always change and you always get to win, right? And then like that's the whole situation. That's what I didn't like. And that's why, again, I didn't want an economic collapse, which is what some people thought. But at the same time, I'm just like, I'm glad you lost $50 billion. And I hate that you got bailed out. And I hate that I feel like I don't like where that money came from, right? But that's not here or there. I was happy. I was pumped. It was cool. Also, since God, I can't remember when I felt like the world came together. Like I felt like everybody from every ideology was just like, no, tap me in on this.
Yeah,
dude, I was like,
I got it, you got it,
man. Yeah. I could not wipe the smile off my face every time I thought about one of these hedge fund cocksuckers that have been taking advantage of people for decades.
You love to see it.
Finally getting what they deserved, man.
Love to see it.
And more than that, holy shit, fuck. Sorry, wifey just walked in wearing something.
Colin's about to end the show. He's about to call it right now.
Yeah, she's got a great outfit, which you can see on her stream very, very soon because she's going to be streaming. She's cosplaying because today is Saturday. She will be playing Skyrim. So she's playing a wood elf. Boom.
She's not going to give Salt of the Streets a preview?
Baby,
she doesn't have
put your ears on and come give Salt of the Streets a preview, please. Gotta put her ears on because otherwise she won't know.
Well, at first I thought it was like a thing like for you later, at which point I'm like, keep it to yourself. But if you're like, you can check it out on her Twitch later, then come on the camera now.
Come on over here.
Yeah, if this is where we're at, if anyone can leave,
she's shy. She's putting on her ears right now. Cool. So let me make this quick point before she puts on her ears and comes and show everybody, right? Part of one of the things that I absolutely loved about what happened to GameStop, right, is the fact that there is a completely separate economy that is only accessible if you have X amount of millions of dollars or more.
Yeah.
That suddenly became clear to the average US American investor.
100%.
That all of a sudden we realize that there is those 1%ers that we're always bitching about and shit like that. That's those people. And what they're doing with our money is controlling our entire national economy. And they're not doing it with our say. They're doing it with whatever way makes them more money. And the fact that a big enough group of people can stand up and say, no, I'm going to put my $1,000 here and I'm going to lose that $1,000 because I do not agree with the fucking corrupt shadow system that you have put in place over the last so many decades to screw every single working blue collar American. That I am done. I'm going to throw it away and I'm going to call you out for your shit. And I'm going to make you lose billions of dollars because you are a terrible piece of shit human being who has done nothing but profit off the backs of everyday working Americans. That is what GameStop was truly about to somebody like me.
Yo, let's go to fucking war. Yeah, okay, let's fucking do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, fucking.
I will put up my $150, $1,000. I don't give a fuck to bring down every one of these corrupt motherfuckers that have put us in the same situation that we have now. The reason that we have $500,000 homes selling all across America that nobody can afford is because of those sleazy motherfuckers that have been sitting on this cash for decades and decades and decades, creating a system, a separate shadow economy that only they can participate in. This is why we had, Occupy Wall Street. Yep. When I thought those were just a bunch of granola crunchy hippies. No. 100%. It was about these people. It was 100%. About these people. And the only reason we could do it is because the internet has evolved to where it is now. That we could do this thing. Baby. Amen. So anyway,
listen,
that's my soapbox.
No. Listen. That's a fucking. Sorry, I had to time it. That's a fucking hill to die on. Listen, I love everything. Oh,
hills to die on. I forgot about that.
Oh, was that not yours? Because I feel like I thought we were all dying. I literally was building my fort right here. It's fucking drawing my fucking bow back. I was just like, let's fucking go. This is where we defend. It's fine. It's fine. It's a hill. It's a knoll we found. All right, for Pickett's charge. We're gonna
pick a knoll, dig a hole.
Oh my god.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Pick a knoll, dig a hole. That's where we're at. We're gonna defend it.
We're just Sorry, my dog is trying.
Show your dog.
Yeah, pick up the dog.
Come here. Oh, you were outside.
So Larry's gonna pick up his dog. I'm gonna pick up. Oh, your dog is so much cuter than mine.
No, he does not like being picked up.
Baby, come over here. See Larry Dixon's dog. Oh, is that a corgi, Larry?
It's a corgi. It's my favorite.
It's a corgi.
We're the same.
Look at that loaf, dude.
Oh, buddy.
We're the same kind of dog or animal.
Oh, look at. It's so cute.
So adorable. He's like, I don't know about being up here.
He doesn't like it.
He's like, I don't know about being up here.
We're the same kind of animal. We're big bodies, little arms.
I guess that was our elf preview.
Yeah.
Love it.
I didn't know she had a Twitch. I wish you would have told me. She can have my monthly free subscription.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you.
Yeah, let her know. Just send over the thing. I'll give her my monthly free subscription.
Yes. There you go.
Okay, do you guys have any last notes on GameStop?
No, that was honestly, there's nothing I could say that could have possibly tied it off better than Colin did. So
word.
I was very, very, very invested.
I know that was great.
Yeah,
that was great.
Nothing further, sure.
Yeah. Do you guys want to do hills to die and we can get the fuck out of here?
Yeah. Listen, I don't.
Larry, do you want to go? No. What do you got, Larry?
Listen, do you want to go first? No, I can go first.
You want to go first?
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Okay. So my second hill to die on, because Colin, I've already built my fort on his hill. Listen, esports is the game of it's the sport of the future.
Esports.
Unequivocally, like I think that
such as League of Legends.
League of Legends is mine, but I think esports is going to allow us for a greater genre of play. So more people are going to be included. It's going to be easier to consume because we never have to leave, and I think we don't want to admit it's just the comfort of homes. And I think it's becoming much more realistic that competitive nature, and you don't have to be so genetically different. So that's my hill to die on. I think I get made fun of all the time, and I'm just like, I can't wait for this esport events. And I think in the next 5 to 10 years, I think it's going to be drastically more popular than basketball, baseball, and fucking any other sport except
because
for football.
It's so much better.
100%. It's better than all those things. More exciting. And I think we can all participate on a lower
Fuck
level.
you guys.
What? Listen,
I love video games, but I love football so much.
I think football's the only one it won't beat, and soccer on a national level. But I think
because football is kind of like a blood sport.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you guys are crazy.
Listen, esports. I'm telling you, get in early. I can't wait to own a team, but I think it's going to be the big sport in America. I get a lot.
You're going to own a team? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I want to own it. I would love to own a League of Legends team. That's like my ultimate sick goal. But
all right, so Don, we
Salt of the Streets.
Team
Salt of the Streets will totally sponsor a fucking League of Legends team. I'm
not playing League of Legends though, man. I'll sponsor the shit out of it. I ain't gonna play that shit. I'll get really angry and rage quit.
I remember when I first started at Bennick, like talking about esports with Tyler. And Tyler, if you're listening, I'm not throwing any shade, but talking about like he didn't understand esports. Like, I don't, that's not a sport, blah, blah, blah. And then, 2 years ago, guys are winning esports. Guys are winning world championships of League of Legends for multiple millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying?
Give me them tendies.
I'm like, okay, so there's a little bit of legitimacy to this market now. I think,
of legitimacy.
Listen,
first
money
player
is legitimacy.
Sponsored by Nike. SKT from Korea, sponsored by Nike.
From Korea.
I don't remember what school it was, but I just saw a video earlier this week. West Point has one of theirs. This was like a really sick fucking lab. But it was an esports lab for
probably from the Big Ten.
Yeah, I believe that it was. And it was absolutely incredible facility with not only consoles or not only computers but consoles also. I mean, it just absolutely
master race,
beautiful.
Bro. Consoles can suck a dude.
Absolutely. Well, there are people still play esports on consoles. That's still a big thing.
Losers.
I know it's huge.
The losers.
Oh, fuck you guys.
Thank you, Larry.
There will always be a console market in esports.
This is how you could tell me and Larry on the same team on this one, bro.
Wavelengths, yeah. At second place will always be the consoles.
We're following one conference, which is the PC conference, which is the only conference to follow.
100%. It's the only thing that matters. It's all good.
There are those console conferences, which, they're out there.
Yeah, losers. But yeah, go ahead. You're hill to die.
Fuck you guys.
In every league, there's got to be winners and losers, baby. We're just winners.
I love it.
Well, this fits perfectly with my hill to die. My hill to die this week is do what makes you comfortable.
Yes, okay, go ahead.
Oh.
And what
that was Grandpa. Go ahead, Boomer. Go ahead.
Okay, Boomer. Let's do it.
And what I mean when I say do what makes you comfortable,
he's the youngest Larry, which is funny.
I'm also the only one with the kids, so
that's fair.
That adds at least 10 years. So when I say do what makes you comfortable, I don't mean stay in your comfort zone, but don't rush yourself, right? Trust the process. Don't get complacent in things, but wait for the right opportunity and strike when it's there. There have been, this is like not a very good example, but the first one I could think of is in the pandemic. There's a worldwide ammo shortage, right? That's like been a big thing, is that ammo is super hard to find, and when you can find it, it's really expensive and all this stuff.
I can attest.
Yeah, absolutely. Larry, I don't know how involved you are with firearms or anything, but
he's got the Fed on his back, bro. He can get ammo whenever.
Yeah. Shoot enough.
Yeah, so it's difficult to find, and there's been at least 5 times in the last year that I've seen a particular deal on ammunition and been like, oh no, I'll just wait 3 days, until Friday. And then when it gets to Friday, it's not fucking there. And the next time I see that same deal, it's 10% more expensive than it was last time, because in between the 2 purchase dates, prices have gone up in the industry, and that's where it's at, right?
Yep.
And there are people who lose out on jobs, lose out on relationships, lose out on everything, because they don't take the opportunity when it's there. And they think about it for days or weeks or years afterwards that, oh man, what if this happened, or this was a good opportunity? And I think that it is critically important for people to do what makes them comfortable, but also not lose on opportunities. And the other good example, I think, is Bitcoin, right? 2 weeks ago, when I was talking to you guys about it, I was like almost in tears because I was so upset because I didn't understand. And there were people around me that I felt like were moving on past me, and I was missing out on something. And by the time that I understood it, I was going to be too late. It and we are 2 weeks later, I'm buying a Bitcoin. It's not too late. I've had these conversations here that make me feel more comfortable in that. Then it's not too late. I didn't miss this opportunity, but I had to do it in my own time. I had to do what made me feel comfortable.
100%.
So I think that it's important. Take opportunities. Shoot your shot, as they fucking say. You know what I'm saying? But do what makes you comfortable.
That was very well put, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
That was very
much better
good.
than mine. I didn't know we were getting so philosophical. I feel like a dick.
Now we're going to end it on a super depressing note. Just wait for it. If there's one guy who we could count on to bring down a room, that would be my hill to die on, which is accountability. We had talked about this beforehand, more or less, with the hypocrisy and this, that, and the other thing. But it's time. It's officially time for all of you people that voted for the greatness that is the Biden administration to start calling out their malfeasance, their 50-plus executive orders, executive actions since the day he took office, which is more than any president has ever done in the entire history of the United States. We are closer today than we have ever been to dictatorial rule in the United States of America. And it's because the Democrats elected none other than the great and powerful Joe Biden, who has done nothing but sign executive order after executive order after executive action. It is time to hold them accountable. Governor Cuomo, it is time for you to go to jail because of the people whose policy, the people who died because of the policy that you put in place, that you decided to lie about and cover up until it was found out because your idiot fucking savant of an assistant decided to speak it out loud to the reporters, and no one's going to notice it. It is time to hold your elected officials accountable. You wanted to do it for 4 years while Trump was in office. It is now your time because your guy's in office. Call him out. Call the members of an administration out. Miss Vanetta Gupta, who I guess we didn't quite get to, who was covered greatly in the Times article, who is now your nominee for Assistant Attorney General of the United States, who is the one that pushed the entirety of the social media platforms to deplatform and push away and suppress all of the stories right before the presidential election. My hill to die on today: accountability. You need to hold the people that you elected to office accountable, and you are not doing it, and you are not going to do it unless you get shaken by what it is that they do with their policy. And right now you are losing freedoms every single day until you call them out. That's my hill to die on. Thank you and good night.
Listen, that was fucking okay. I'm charged up again.
I got to
move my hill.
Let me add to your closing line, because I have something else here, or to your hill to die on, right?
Do it, baby. Do it.
It's a quote from this woman, from Vanetta Gupta, right? And this is in reference to, this is the article that we were talking about earlier, the shadow conspiracy cabal that happened, that all these different arms that had to work to make sure that Joe Biden, the proper outcome, as it is quoted in here, the proper outcome of the election was reached, right? Okay, this is a quote. This is because in November 2019, Mark Zuckerberg invited 9 civil rights leaders. Mark Zuckerberg, obviously the founder of Facebook, right? Just for anybody who doesn't fucking know somehow, the Zuck, if you will.
Wait. Let me drink water like he drinks water. Yes, ma'am.
In November 2019, Mark Zuckerberg invited 9 civil rights leaders to dinner at his home, where they warned him about the danger of the election-related falsehoods they were already spreading unchecked. Quote, "It took pushing, urging, conversations, brainstorming, all of that to get to a place where we ended up with more rigorous rules and enforcement," says Vanetta Gupta, president and CEO of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, who attended the dinner and also met with Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey and others. Gupta has been nominated for Associate Attorney General by President Biden. So after that, after this previous employment, after these conversations, after all of this work that she did, we are now expected to believe that she is going to enforce a completely unbiased and law uninterfered by any type of personal anything, right? After she just worked and was paid, presumably
a lot of money
to make sure that Joe Biden won the election. We now are supposed to trust her to be completely unbiased.
Yeah, but it's okay because it was the proper outcome. It was the proper outcome.
How do you feel about that, Larry?
Listen, it's scary. I don't, because I never want something to be, I don't like planned malfeasance. I don't like planned all this. But when Colin says it's accountability time, and then you really start to think like, hey, no one's there. And then you read that motherfucker like, hey, like, not only do we think this is planned, they're fucking telling it to our face. Like that again, it goes back to like, I feel like they're like, hey, you're stupid, and you don't understand the agenda I have for you, right?
The fucking
You don't
Time
need to
News
worry
article.
about it. Just go back to work.
100%, right? And it's just like, it's disgusting because like I hear the article came and it went, and when I heard about it, I was like, what? Like,
wait, excuse me, what did you say?
They
did
literally
you just say that the entire election was rigged from the get-go?
Not even rigged. It's just like everybody came together to leverage the proper outcome. It wouldn't even been better if they're like, we did all this because we wanted an outcome. But now they literally have suggested that their path for me, and again, I'm obsessed with control in my life. I am who I am. But like now you're telling me that like this is, you don't know what's good. You don't need to decide because we're going to create it for you. And that's frustrating.
Yeah. And I think I should probably rephrase this, right? Because, these things like rigged, these terms like rigged and 100%. Like forethought and blah, blah, blah. Let's put it in a completely different context, right? The fact of the matter is this is the 51% versus the 49%.
Yeah.
And when the 51% includes every single institution that has any kind of political power, the 49% doesn't have a voice.
100%.
And that's exactly why we saw the riots at the Capitol. It's because that tiny decimal fraction of that 49% showed up and threw a goddamn tantrum at the Capitol. It's because they were not listened to. Their voices were not heard. Their votes did not count.
Yep.
It's because the 51% had complete and utter control of the media, of the distribution of information, all of it. And that's why President Biden, I mean, I'm not going to say that like if you had a complete and utter free, untouched election that Biden would be president. I would put my money that Biden would still be president because he's not Orange Man, because Orange Man says a lot of bad shit. Got it.
Yeah.
But if this does not illustrate the power of our institutions and how ensconced they are into our political landscape, I don't know what does, because you cannot change the institutions once they decide to take a stand on something.
100%. I couldn't have said it better myself. I don't even know if I could have said that well. Honestly, yeah. Listen, I'm putting my hill wherever Colin puts his hill.
There you go. It's not that bad of a hill. It's nice. We got a palm tree out back. It's pretty decent. We get sun.
Have nothing.
Half
We've
the
wind.
day.
We've wind. All we have is wind.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, John, please tell me you have a line that's gonna really make us laugh on the way out of here.
Oh, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. But before we do that, I have to remind everybody, because I didn't throughout this whole time. Obviously, if you've been watching this whole time, thank you very much for joining us on our flagship. It's been, tens of episodes since we.
The last time we did a full-on live stream was it was like right at the break of the pandemic when we were at the wine bar.
Yes, yeah, but we used to live stream our whole episodes when we first started. We haven't done that.
The Dizzy Day.
Yeah, we haven't done that in probably 2 years. But yeah, the last time we did a full episode live stream was at the very beginning of the pandemic, like several days after everything closed down. It was super weird. So obviously, if you're watching this, thank you. And so YouTube is Salt of the Streets. We have our own personal social media. I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter, and then Alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. Colin is at Birdofia on all those things. Larry is at some combination of Larry the Tax Man, Larry the Tax Guy. We're going to tag him in all these things so you can hit him up afterwards. He will obviously take your questions if you have any tax questions and stuff like that all the time. Hit him up. What is your work website for your company? It's Atlas.
That's a great question. This is what I'm going to tell you. This was a side hustle and a passion problem. So I'm not built in, honestly, to be everywhere. I was helping people and this blew up in my face. So you just tag them. I don't have a website.
Tag them and bag them.
Yeah, I'm Larry the Tax Guy on almost everything. So
we'll do that. Obviously, saltofthestreets.com for everything. Salt of the Streets YouTube, Salt of the Streets Instagram, all that shit. Okay, with that, Colin, I don't want to speak. It's horrible. I can't phrase this at you because it's not at you. It's really bad if I say it to you.
Good. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Oh, please, let's do it.
I don't want to speak ill of your mother on Christmas, but she's nothing but a common street whore.
My mother is a saint. How dare you?
It's going to be at least a giggle.